He, a boy cowering in a basement apartment, silently enduring school bullying. She, a wealthy school beauty at the top of the social ladder, basking in everyone's admiration. When a zombie virus suddenly erupts, order collapses and survival hangs by a thread. These two people from completely different worlds are forced together, fleeing for their lives. In this apocalyptic hell, danger is rewriting their fates. The boy's name is Jong Min-jun. One day, an unknown virus suddenly breaks out across the world. Due to this infectious disease similar to a zombie virus, country B rapidly falls into ruins. He and the school beauty Han Yena barely manage to survive. However, even in this post-apocalyptic world, Han Yena continues to boss Jong Min-jun around. She once again demands that he find her water to drink. But this time, Jong Min-jun is no longer submissive and flatly refuses her demand. Han Yena is shocked by his sudden change. She starts insulting him with harsh words, calling him utterly worthless. But Jong Min-jun ignores her completely because he knows that in the apocalypse, Hanyana is the real burden. He immediately decides to part ways with her. At first, Hanyana acts dismissive. She resolutely chooses to leave in the opposite direction from Jong Min-jun. But halfway through, she discovers the road ahead is completely blocked. At the same time, she notices strange noises coming from a nearby residential building. She feels a chill run down her spine. Additionally, she smells a mixture of blood and rotting flesh. Images flash through her mind. That day, when infected people suddenly appeared and lunged at her in terror, thinking deeper about it, she eventually turns back to find Jong Min-jun, demanding that he take her with him. But this time, the boy no longer indulges her and immediately demands an apology and orders her to obey him from now on. Their roles have completely reversed in this moment. Han Yena feels utterly humiliated, but faced with reality, she has no choice but to comply. Suddenly, movement behind them catches their attention. Several infected people come charging at them like bullets. In the critical moment, Jong Min-jun grabs Han Yena's arm. The two begin their long journey of escape. Time rewinds to over 10 days ago in the poor residential district. Sunlight streams through the narrow window into the old decaying basement. The computer has been on all night, still displaying that famous zombie game. At this moment, the 7:05 alarm goes off right on schedule. Jong Min-jun wakes up groggily. He walks out of his room to find the house empty as usual. A note from his mother before she left for work is stuck on the wall. Looking at the carefully written reminders, he feels nothing inside. Every day as he leaves the residential area, he can see the towering skyscrapers across the way. That's where the wealthy live, a place he can never hope to reach. Later, he arrives at school, Song'un High School. Just as he reaches the hallway, someone punches him and knocks him to the ground. The culprit is Park Song-bin from Class 3, Grade 11, also his classmate. He even mockingly apologizes to Jong Min-jun. Just then, an annoyed complaint comes from behind. "Can you guys keep it down in the hallway?" Park Song-bin turns around and sees it's Han In-ah from their class. Han In-ah says irritably, "Don't cause trouble at school. Could you please disappear from my sight?" Park Song-bin immediately puts his arm around Jong Min-jun like they're buddies, claiming they were just horsing around. Jong Min-jun has long been used to this sort of thing. This kind of treatment is just part of his daily life. But for this tall, beautiful girl before him, he harbors special feelings. He knows she lives in the luxury apartments across from the poor district, that her parents hold important positions, and that her family is well off. She's also popular on social media platforms. Not only that, but her academic performance is excellent too. Next year, she even plans to study abroad in country K. However, this seemingly perfect person looks down on the poor students and low performers in class. He discovered this because when they became desk mates in their second year of middle school, he tried talking to her after school. At that time, he was thrilled to find they walked the same way home and asked, "Your house is in this direction too?" But she responded, "You have a smell. Could you not follow me?" Her face was full of disgust and impatience. "If we're going the same way home, please walk separately from me." That's when he understood. She looked down on him because she thought he carried the smell of poverty. Just as he was preparing to gradually distance himself from her, something unfortunate happened again. They became deskmates again in high school. Despite knowing her attitude, he sadly realizes he still likes her. Liking someone who constantly mocks and looks down on him is truly ironic. However, being under Park Song-bin's physical bullying and Han Yi-na's emotional abuse for so long, he's starting to feel shame and humiliation about his life. During break time, Jong Min-jun sits on a bench in the pavilion, listening to two friends discuss games and concerts. They're Bae Jun-ho from Class 6 and Oh Byung-jun from Class 5, his few like-minded friends who are lucky enough not to be bullied. His prolonged suppression makes him deeply envious of them. It also makes him momentarily miss Bae Jun-ho's call. Only when Bae Jun-ho raises his voice does he snap back to reality. Bae Jun-ho asks if he wants to go to their idol John's concert together. But Jong Min-jun declines, saying he has no interest in chasing celebrities right now. He then quietly leaves, returning to the classroom. He keeps hoping for school to end soon. Just then, he hears Park Song-bin and other classmates gossiping about someone behind him. From their conversation, it's clear this person left their parents at age 13 and came here from Country Inn. Unexpectedly, subject of their gossip, Kong Hak-chul overhears everything. "What did you just say?" he asks. Park Song-bin taunts. "What's wrong, loser? Got a problem with that?" Kong Hak-chul tells him to watch his mouth, which instantly enrages Park Song-bin, who grabs him by the collar. But Kong Hak-chul shows no fear, just stares back at him steadily. Seeing the tense atmosphere, two classmates nearby quickly intervene, so Park Song-bin leans into Kong Hak-chul's ear and warns him to behave, then casually walks away. Jong Min-jun silently witnesses the whole scene. Internally complaining what a terrible class, what a terrible school, he decides that starting tomorrow, he'll never come to school again. But unluckily, he runs into Park Song-bin again. With a fake smile, the bully threateningly tells him to go to the convenience store and buy cigarettes. Hearing Park Song-bin's same domineering and rude demands, Jong Min-jin's had enough, remembering he's planning to drop out anyway. He decides to thoroughly tell off this annoying guy. But when the words reach his lips, he backs down, ultimately choosing to ignore Park Song-bin and walk away. This rare behavior greatly surprises Park Song-bin. He immediately catches up to Jong Min-jin and drags him to a secluded corner of a construction site and beats him up. Park Song-bin holds up a brick, viciously threatening, "Should I just kill you today?" But the response catches him off guard. "Please just kill me. I don't want to live anymore." Park Song-bin kicks him hard instead. His tone turns sinister. "If you mention my name in a suicide note and kill yourself, just you wait. After you kill yourself, I'll go kill your mom." With that, he leaves the battered Jong Min-jin alone and walks away. On the way home, Jong Min-jin thinks wearily how great it would be if the world ended tomorrow. He looks back at that luxury building reeking of money, thinking if I fell from that height, it would all be over. This thought drives him toward that building. Just as he reaches the entrance, Han Yena stops him. "What are you doing here?" She looks confused. "You weren't sneaking in to steal something, were you?" Then she notices the bruises and wounds on Jong Min-jin's face. She walks up and asks, "Did someone hit you?" She can't help commenting, "Wow, you're such a coward. Park Song-bin bullies you and you won't even fight back? Every time I see people like you, I feel so pathetic. Even if you're worthless, you should at least have the courage to resist, right?" Jong Min-jin doesn't answer, just silently turns and leaves. Seeing him ignore her, Han Yena gets angry, but then feels he's somewhat pitiful. So she mutters quietly, "I need to give Park Song-bin a piece of my mind tomorrow back home." Jong Min-jin decides to numb his painful heart with gaming. Because he's wearing headphones, he doesn't hear the screams and cries of terror outside. He plays straight through until 10 p.m. At this moment, Bae Jun-ho and Oh Byung-jun suddenly say they need to log off even though the game isn't finished. The two discuss some newly released news, and just as Jong Min-jin is about to ask about it, there's violent knocking at the door. He walks to the door and asks, "Who's there?" No one answers. Just continuous eerie knocking. He looks through the peephole and sees the neighbor uncle from upstairs groaning intermittently. "Help me." Jong Min-jin doesn't think much of it, assuming the neighbor is drunk again, so he slowly opens the door. When he sees the scene before him, his pupils dilate in shock. The uncle's body is swaying, blood flowing from a wound in his abdomen looking terrifying. Jong Min-jin panics and wants to call an ambulance, but suddenly the neighbor's eyes roll back and his mouth opens wide. He lunges at him like a wild beast. This action catches Jong Min-jin completely off guard. Out of self-preservation instinct, he kicks him down, then quickly closes the door blocking the uncle outside. He's so frightened his heart pounds wildly. His legs won't stop shaking. Remembering the neighbor's terrifying face, he realizes something is wrong. He quickly pulls out his phone to call the police, but the police line stays busy and won't connect. He also sees multiple national emergency alerts on his phone. Just then, the noisy commotion outside catches his attention. He opens the window to look. Some people on the street are going crazy, biting others. The neighbor uncle from earlier is among them. He quickly closes the window and calls his mother, who still hasn't come home, but no one answers. His heart instantly sinks, so he quickly turns off the lights, covers himself completely with a blanket, and huddles in a corner of the room. He trembles for quite a while before daring to peek out and take out his phone to try seeking help online, but discovers the internet is down. He can only turn on the TV. The TV is broadcasting news about citizens killing people in multiple locations across the country. From the report, he learns the government has classified this incident as a terrorist attack. While Jong Min-jin is still in shock, the news footage suddenly switches to show someone attacking pedestrians on the streets of City F. Watching this bloody scene, he thinks this is absurd rather than a terrorist attack or riot. It's more like something resembling zombies that I know about. He can't help wondering, how did this situation spread from City A to City F in just one day? What's the cause? But now isn't the time to investigate. He decides to first check the hallway situation, then take the chance to lock the building's main door. Seeing the stairwell is empty, he carefully pushes the door open and heads to the main entrance, quietly locks the door. After finishing this, he breathes a sigh of relief. Looking at the eerily quiet hallway, he worries about the safety of the neighbors upstairs. But right now, all he can do is return to his room and wait until morning to see if police come to rescue them. He then turns on the TV again, trying to distract himself, but unfortunately, the TV signal has also been cut off. He's helpless and can only lie down to sleep, but he tosses and turns for a long time, unable to fall asleep. He feels something strange. Just yesterday, he thought life was hell and planned to end it. He even hoped that the world would be destroyed, and now it actually has fallen into chaos. Yet at this moment, he's struggling to survive, completely abandoning thoughts of death. However, he doesn't feel much emotional turmoil because for him, before and now are no different, both are hell. The harrowing night passes. As infected people's terrifying roars echo, daylight breaks. Jong Min-jun carefully opens the door, pokes his head out to observe the situation on the street. The outside world has become a living hell. Blood everywhere, the air filled with a nauseating heavy smell of blood. Jong Min-jun quickly locks the door, knowing clearly leaving home right now would be suicide. He immediately takes stock of the remaining food at home. Fortunately, water, electricity, and gas haven't been cut off yet, so he can prepare more. At most, he can last a month, maybe wait for rescue. Thinking of this, he can't help worrying about his mother outside again, but his phone has no signal at all and can't contact anyone. He also estimates the possible number of survivors in this building, 5 households total. Besides him and the neighbor uncle, there's an elderly couple and a woman living alone, plus the male college student living on the top floor who brings his girlfriend home almost every Tuesday. And yesterday happened to be Tuesday. Jong Min-jin guesses they might be on the top floor right now. He walks lightly, checking floor by floor where people live, but hears no movement anywhere. This makes his heart sink. Could the guy on the top floor have become like the neighbor uncle too? He still decides to go check, only to find the door to the top floor is wide open. Not only that, but the door to the small room is also unlocked. After hesitating a moment, Jong Min-jun decides not to call out directly. He nervously walks into the room, finding the scene messy and bloodstains on the floor. In a corner he can't see, the infected male college student is slowly walking out of the bathroom, behind him his girlfriend who was bitten to death. Jong Min-jin naturally hears this movement and trembles all over in fear. He finally decides to slowly back out of the room. But while moving, he doesn't notice a flower pot nearby. He accidentally knocks it over, causing a loud shattering sound. Frantic roaring immediately erupts from inside. Without thinking, he runs. In his panic, he trips over himself and falls hard to the ground. At this moment, the infected person has rushed right up to him, lunging straight at him. In the critical moment, Jong Min-jin dodges its attack. As it lunges toward the rooftop edge, he grabs its leg and uses the momentum to flip it backward. It falls straight down from the top floor. Hearing the dull thud of flesh hitting the ground, Jong Min-jin hurries back downstairs to his home in terror. He collapses on the floor, gasping for breath, then murmurs in panic, "The guy from the top floor. He must be dead, right? He can't believe he just killed someone." but repeatedly reassures himself none of this is his fault. He only did it to survive. He had no choice. Afterward, he just sits there until after 7 p.m. All day long, he's been consumed by guilt over killing someone. Tormented by these thoughts, he can't help but push open the building door to check the body, only to find a strangely shaped man slowly pacing on the street. Hearing the noise, the figure slowly turns around. It's the male college student Young Min Jin pushed down during the day. Due to the violent impact, his head is bent 90 degrees to one side, looking extremely bizarre. Watching that figure swaying toward him, Young Min Jin clearly realizes the crazed neighbor uncle, the male college student, and other people like them have indeed become infected. But strangely, from this moment on, he finds he's no longer so afraid of these infected people. The next day, the third day of the disaster, Jang Min-jun eats a hot meal. He can't help thinking, is waiting indefinitely for rescue in his room the right choice? If he wants to call for help, maybe he should return to the rooftop and light a fire as a distress signal. He looks at the window sealed with cardboard thinking, looks like I'll have to go out again tomorrow. Suddenly, his phone ringing startles him. He quickly looks at the caller ID, Mom. He hurriedly answers, his mother's voice coming through clearly. She tells Jang Min-jon she encountered the military while escaping and is now at the Gangnam shelter, urging him absolutely not to leave his room. She says she'll find a way to get the rescue team to come for him. But before she can finish, the call drops due to unstable signal. Young Min-jon curses under his breath, then feels relieved that his mother's safety is confirmed. Just then, his phone keeps beeping with message notifications. He opens them to find messages from Bae Juno and Oh Byung-jun. They're actually joking around in the group chat at a time like this. While happy his friends are alive, he also feels somewhat sad. In this situation, the only ones willing to contact him are his mom and these two friends. At this moment, he suddenly thinks of Han Yi-na. She's the person he knows who lives closest to him and has even been to his house. That time Park Sang-bin brought a bunch of delinquent friends to his house to eat and drink. Park Sang-bin even messaged Han Yi-na to come over, but with ulterior motives. His friend Chong Min wanted to take advantage of her, but Han Yi-na actually came. Seeing Jang Min-jin sitting quietly among the group, she realized this was his house. Seeing the beautiful girl arrive, a group of thuggish guys made a commotion trying to get her inside. But the cramped space with choking cigarette smoke and the sticky damp floor made her physically uncomfortable, so she immediately said she wanted to leave. Hearing Han Yun complain about the environment inside, he felt unbearably sad. Compared to Park Sang-bin bringing people to his house to drink, Han Yun-a's reaction made him feel even more pathetic. Recalling this, Jang Min-jin can't help worrying about Han Yun-a's safety. But then he thinks Han Yun-a's father is a hospital director, so he should have ways to handle this kind of crisis. However, the next second, a faint calling voice comes from outside. Jang Min-jin whips his head toward the door, thinking he's hallucinating. But that voice sounds again, Jang Min-jin, are you in there? If you are, open the door. Hearing the familiar voice, Jang Min-jin can't believe it. He cries out, Han Yena. At this moment, Han Yena outside the window also hears his voice. She knocks on the window again, hoping he'll let her in. But this noise attracts the attention of infected people on the street. They quickly close in on Han Yena. She pounds on the window harder, looking anxious. Hurry up and open the door. Please answer me. At the critical moment, Jang Min-jin throws open the building door, shouting urgently, get in here, just before the infected reach the entrance. He gets Han Yena inside and locks the door. Crisis averted, Han Yena weakly collapses to the floor. Seeing this, Jang Min-jun approaches her with concern, asking, are you okay? How did you end up here? Before he finishes, Han Yena grabs his clothes and throws herself into his embrace, feeling her trembling body. Jang Min-jun is momentarily at a loss, his tone confused. What happened? Realizing they're too close, Han Yena quickly lets go. Looking at him, her tone unusually gentle, Jang Min-jun, thank you. If it weren't for you, I might already be dead. The goddess's praise immediately makes Jang Min-jun shy. That's good. I'm glad we're both okay. After calming down, Hanyana looks around, asking curiously, is it just you here right now? Jang Min-jun then explains his situation to her. After finishing, he asks about her experience. Hanyana tells him her father is safe at his workplace, but when mentioning her mother, she hesitates, then says her parents will definitely both be fine. After speaking, she asks Jong Min-jun for water, saying she hasn't had water in days, yet she practically chugs down 3 large bottles in one go, watching her nearly finish the 4th bottle. Jong Min-jun thinks in amazement, how much water is she going to drink? In these circumstances, water is a precious resource. If she keeps drinking like this and the water gets cut off, they'll both be done for. But thinking she risked her life to get here, he understands. He can't help asking, were you originally staying at home before coming here? I've been hiding outside these past few days. Hanyeon's answer shocks him. She tells him that on the day she ran into him, because she had things to do, she went home to change clothes then went out again, heading to the shopping center near her, but halfway there, the crowd ahead suddenly broke into chaos, the scene complete disorder. She scattered with the crowd, hiding in a stairwell of the nearby shopping street. The stairwell had an unlocked door. She went in and found a small conference room, but the door leading into the building wouldn't open, so she could only hide in the conference room. Fortunately, there was a bottle of water inside, which kept her going for 3 days. Later, unable to hold on, she had no choice but to come out and try to go home. But the usual route had infected people wandering around. She could only choose another alley. She kept hiding along the way and actually ended up at the community where Jong Min-jin lives. Seeing infected people appearing from time to time, she decided to take shelter at Jong Min-jin's place first. So even though there were infected people by the roadside, she had no choice but to steel herself and pass by, finally making her way to Jong Min-jin's place after much difficulty. Hearing Han Yena's account, Jong Min-jin can't help praising her bravery. But Han Yena suddenly stands up, saying she wants to take a shower, looking at her sweat-soaked armpits. Jong Min-jin thinks briefly then asks, by the way, your underarms are all wet. You must have sweated a lot, right? Want to change clothes? I can lend you some. Han Yen misunderstands, thinking he has some perverted thoughts. She immediately kicks him several times and calls him a disgusting loser, then turns and walks into the bathroom, leaving Jong Min-jin completely baffled, hearing the sound of water from the bathroom. He starts thinking about the next plan. He was already planning to go out and look around, but with Han In in a sudden appearance, he can't leave her alone here. But if they both stay in the room at the current rate of food consumption, they can only last half a month at most. At this moment, he feels somewhat lost. While lost in thought, the bathroom door suddenly opens. Han Yen asks to borrow clothes. He's flattered and quickly finds a clean set of clothes to hand over. Han Yen sniffs them and says with disgust, ugh, they smell musty. But in this situation, she has no choice and reluctantly puts them on. Listening to her endless complaints, Jong Min-jin can't help thinking, at a time like this, she still cares about whether the clothes are comfortable after dinner. Han Yana asks Jong Min-jin about his plans. Learning he originally planned to leave, she excitedly asks why he'd risk going out when there's food at home. Jong Min-jin quickly explains that was his plan before she came. Since she's here now, they should stay home together and wait for rescue. What if we run out of food? Han Yena asks. Jong Min-jin says they could consider breaking into other residents' doors to find food, but aside from the top floor, he's not sure if other residents have become infected. Considering the worst-case scenario, they might ultimately still have to leave. Han Yi-na firmly states she absolutely won't go out. You haven't been outside, have you? As long as you stay out there for a while, you'll definitely change your mind immediately. But Jong Min-jun says calmly that as long as they're careful to hide, they should be able to move successfully. Additionally, from his observations, only people who are bitten become infected. Anyway, as long as we don't come in contact with them, you made it here successfully, didn't you? He continues explaining, I've noticed not all infected move fast. Depending on the degree of injury, their behavior varies. Some approach quietly, others lie there motionless like corpses, plus those infected run slower than normal people sprinting, which means we have a good chance of avoiding them. After hearing this, Han Yenya stops arguing and instead orders Jong Min-jin to make up her bed. Jong Min-jin feels uncomfortable but does it anyway. However, when Han Yenya sees 2 pillows on the bed, she looks at the boy beside her in disbelief. Are you crazy? You want to sleep with me? She points to the bathroom. You sleep there, Jong Jin says awkwardly. Either way, this is my house. Making me sleep in the bathroom is a bit. Han Ina sighs deeply, deliberately saying, as an uninvited guest, I must be mentally unstable. I'll go sleep in the bathroom. You sleep comfortably right here. Jong Min-jin quickly stops her, telling her to sleep peacefully in the room. After some insincere back and forth, Jong Min-jun ends up sleeping in the kitchen. Although Han Yena talks a lot and likes bossing him around, at least he's not so lonely anymore. Meanwhile, Han Yena also can't fall asleep for a long time. The intermittent zombie roars from outside scare her, so she softly calls out to Jong Min-jun, saying, "Come sleep in the room. I'm a bit scared alone." So Jong Min-jun stays in the corner of the room keeping her company, and she starts rambling again these sounds. I've heard them enough in the stairwell, but they still feel strange and terrifying. As she speaks, she chokes up, "I miss my mom so much." Hearing the girl's quiet sobbing, Jong Min-jun just sits there silently keeping her company through the night. The next day, daylight brightens, watching Han Yena sleeping soundly. Jong Min-jun can't help exclaiming, "Wow, what time is she going to sleep until?" The exhausted Han Yena sleeps until 9 a.m. Just as she wakes up, she sees Jong Min-jun putting on his jacket, apparently preparing to go out. Seeing she's awake, he tells her he's planning to go to the rooftop again. He asks if she wants to come along. She says in terror she doesn't dare go out, so he goes out alone. Reaching the main door, he's shocked to find cracks in the glass. Immediately realizing this door won't hold much longer, he continues upward but hears Han Yena's voice behind him. There's a nasty smell. He turns back in surprise, hearing her continue, "I just have a bad feeling." Then the two come to the rooftop together. Jong Min-jun discovers the male college student's girlfriend lying in the bathroom. She's exactly what he mentioned before, an infected person lying there like a corpse. He walks out with a grim expression, explaining the situation inside to Han Yena. Then the two discuss the materials needed for lighting a fire and the right timing. After that, the two begin their life of depending on each other. Han Yena gradually treats the place as her own home. No matter big or small, she takes it for granted that Jong Min-jun should do everything. Jong Min-jun gradually can't stand this lifestyle. He scrubs Han Yena's clothes vigorously, raging internally. "Damn it, I'm definitely going to leave her here and escape by myself." But he can only think about it, not daring to actually do it. By now, the electricity has been cut off. Only water remains, and their food supplies are nearly depleted. He knows clearly that this seemingly stable life is just a false illusion. After that, he goes out every day as usual, patrolling around the community once. Through days of observation, he makes new discoveries. Infected people attack living humans but won't attack the dead or already infected. Their activity range is within 50 to 100 meters, though these characteristics aren't consistent for every infected person. Because their hearing is acute, making noise must be avoided at all costs. Additionally, there are 2 to 3 times fewer infected wandering outside during the day than at night. So he theorizes infected people dislike sunlight. Therefore, walking outside at night is absolutely forbidden. He's not sure if it's his imagination, but he feels the infected people's various behaviors are very similar to the zombie game he often plays. If these infected are really related to that game, then everything happening now might just be the beginning. When that time comes, the apocalypse will truly arrive. Inside the room, Han Yena glances at the time on the wall, complaining, said he'd be back in 30 minutes, that Jong Min-jun is late again, getting more and more disobedient. Just as she finishes speaking, a helicopter roars past outside the window. She can't help complaining, "What's the point?" Turns out when the helicopter first passed by, they tried lighting a fire for help. But no matter how they waved and shouted, the people on board flew straight away as if they didn't see them. After another lengthy stretch of time, unable to wait for Jong Min-jun, Han Yen gradually grows anxious. She paces back and forth in the room guessing whether he was attacked by infected. And when the agreed time exceeds 3 hours, this anxiety completely turns to despair. Hanyana chokes out, "Jong Min-jun, please, you're not dead, are you?" She helplessly hugs herself, quietly pleading, "Please come back soon. Don't leave me alone." Just as she's grieving, there's finally movement at the door. Jong Min-jun gasps and calls out quietly, "Hanyana, look at this." But when he sees her, he freezes. Hanyana looks at him through teary eyes, her face full of helplessness. "You're 3 hours late, you jerk. Are you trying to get yourself killed?" She's about to hit him, but he stops her. "Wait, look at this first." He shows her the flyer in his hand explaining, "The helicopter dropped a bunch of these earlier. I came back late because I was looking for it." When she sees the content on the flyer clearly, Han Yin's eyes widen in shock. What is this? The flyer clearly states, "The entire Gangpa district will be completely sealed off at 6 p.m. on the 10th. Han Yin exclaims. "They're sealing it tomorrow? There are so many Gangpa residents. How is that reasonable?" But Jong Min-jun tells her to look at the back of the flyer showing the safety index for each Gangpa district. She carefully reviews it and finds Jiangshan Road in their Gangpa district marked as caution, while even the nearby Yangshan Road is marked safe. However, the areas surrounding Gangpa district are all marked extremely dangerous. Zhang Minjun speculates that soon, Gangpa district situation will also become serious. He regrets it somewhat. We really shouldn't have stayed here waiting for rescue. Han Yen quickly asks, should we escape from Gangpa immediately? Zhang Minjun thinks quickly. Since Gangpa district has so many infected yet is only marked caution, the extremely dangerous areas must be far worse than imaginable. With this in mind, he says, if the northern areas are all serious, then we can't continue fleeing north from the Gangpa district. He makes a decision. We have no choice but to cross the fortress river. He analyzes the route in detail. The fastest route is from Yongsan or through Dongmun district to Dongsong district. But both areas show extremely dangerous, so we can only detour through Gangdong. Fortunately, Yongshan Road is still relatively safe, so let's take the long way and head there. Low infection rates must have a reason. Maybe police or military set up roadblocks to control access. This well-reasoned analysis surprises Han Yina. She can't help exclaiming, wow. I thought you were a stupid loser, you're actually quite smart. Zhang Minjin isn't in the mood for her teasing. His face serious. In any case, we must leave here immediately. Han Yina's face shows resistance, but it's already nighttime. Zhang Minjin compromises, saying they must leave by tomorrow morning at the latest. Han Yina suggests holding out a few more days to wait for rescue. But Zhang Minjin doesn't want to compromise for her anymore. Han Yina, if you want to die miserably in the semi-basement, then stay. I'll leave on my own tomorrow morning. Hearing his ultimatum, Han Yena knows she can no longer avoid reality, so she resignedly accepts the plan. Early morning, just as dawn breaks, the two prepare to set out. At this moment, Zhang Minjun asks hesitantly, are you sure you don't need to check on your dad's hospital? Hanyana falls silent for a moment, a flash of complex emotions in her eyes. Then she says with forced lightness, it's fine. Let's hurry up and leave. The last time I talked to Dad on the phone, he said he already took Mom to hide in a shelter, so that should be enough, right? Zhang Minjin appears to accept this, but thinks something is strange inside what's going on. After leaving the door, Zhang Minjin takes the lead, moving forward slowly and carefully. After confirming the surrounding infected haven't noticed them, he gestures to Han Yena behind him, who carefully follows. The two make their way through, reaching the area near the shopping district without obstruction. After walking for a long time, Han Yena can't help complaining, is Yangkan Road really this far? Isn't it supposed to be nearby? Zhang Minjun tells her to hang in there a bit longer, but Han Yena really can't walk anymore and pleads, can we rest for 5 minutes? You're walking too fast. My feet really hurt, but Zhang Minjun ignores her and turns to keep walking, which greatly displeases her. You jerk. All along the way, listening to Han Yene's complaints while avoiding infected. Zhang Minjun also starts getting irritated. Then the two reach an intersection and discover a massive roadblock set up there. Looking at the mountain of stacked furniture, Han Yen can't help expressing amazement. At this point, Zhang Minjin explains that from this roadblock onward is Yongshan Road. Judging by the scale of the roadblock, Yongshan Road is indeed safer than other areas. So the two decide to climb over the roadblock to find other survivors. However, just as Yong Minjun is struggling to climb, Han Yena insists on resting first. Hearing this, he finally can't help being sarcastic. Stop pretending you're tired and get over here. This statement stuns Han Yena. She murmurs in disbelief. What's with this guy's attitude? What happens next is just like at the beginning. The two run forward frantically when suddenly they see a middle-aged man pushing aside a bookshelf by the roadside. He urgently urges them, hurry this way. After the two enter, Young Min-jun helps the man move the heavy bookshelf. But at this moment, an infected person has already rushed up to them. Due to the bookshelf's obstruction, it can't immediately pounce on the man. The man kicks it to the ground, but this incident causes the original roadblock to be breached. They hurry to flee deeper into the alley. The two climb up the tall roadblock. Young Min-jun urges Hanyana to jump down quickly. They land simultaneously, but Hanyana lets out a pained groan, saying she twisted her ankle. Unexpectedly at this moment, two more infected rush out from ahead. At this life or death moment, Young Min-jun recalls what Han Yena once said, encouraged to resist surges within him. He slowly pulls out a knife from his chest, standing in front of Han Yena. At this moment, he has only one thought. Even if he dies here, he absolutely won't die halfway through a pathetic escape after being bitten. Suddenly, the roar of a motorcycle comes from behind. Park Song-bin rushes forward with a baseball bat and shouts at Jong Min-jin duck. With one swing, he smashes an infected person's head. Other boys traveling with him also join the fight, beating the infected to pieces. This sudden turn of events catches the two off guard. On the other side, after Park Song-bin finishes off the infected, he finally notices Han Yena behind him. "What are you doing here?" When he sees Jong Min-jin beside her, he asks meaningfully, "Oh, and who's this?" Jong Min-jin's heart sinks. This is bad, running into someone even more annoying than the infected. Han Yena is first to approach and thank Park Song-bin. Park Song-bin invites her to come with them, revealing their hideout has about 15 people. She asks why they're not evacuating, and he says it's too late to escape now. It's a long story he'll explain once they reach the hideout. Then he offers to give her a ride back on his motorcycle. As he says this, he stares at her for a moment. His gaze dark and unclear, but Han Yun turns to look at Jong Min-jun asking, but Jong Min-jun has to come too. How will he get there? Park Song-bin is puzzled. That guy too? The other classmates object to bringing Jong Min-jun back. But unexpectedly, Park Song-bin agrees to let Jong Min-jun join. However, Jong Min-jun himself refuses. "I'm not going with you guys. I'll find my own way out. My destination isn't here." With that, he turns to leave. Seeing his rare kindness rejected, Park Song-bin flies into a rage and starts cursing. He threatens viciously. "The country's in chaos anyway. I really could kill you this time." Hearing this, Han Yena immediately starts arguing with him, seeing her constantly speak up for him. Jong Min-jin can't help recalling the conversation Park Song-bin's group had at his house that day. That vulgar talk was unbearable to hear. He can't help worrying. If Han Yuna goes with them, it's like a lamb walking into a tiger's den. Thinking this, he suddenly changes his mind. "Sorry, Song-bin. I'll come with you guys." Park Song-bin welcomes this, saying they'll rest at the hideout first and take him where he wants to go tomorrow. After this, the group arrives at an underground passage. Jong Min-jun immediately recognizes that ahead in the passage is where Park Song-bin beat him up that day. After entering the construction site, seeing the people behind restoring the roadblock, Jong Min-jun whispers to Han Yuna, "No matter how I think about it, we shouldn't be traveling with them. We should find a chance to leave. I feel like they'll harm us." But Han Yun tells him not to worry. In her view, Park Song-bin and his friends are just losers. Besides, he just said there are other adults at the hideout. Jong Min-jin thinks she shouldn't easily trust Park Song-bin's words because he knows Park Song-bin's true nature. He then tells Han Yun all the vulgar things Park Sang-bin said at his house that day. After hearing this, Han Yun's heart skips a beat. She immediately calls out to Park Sang-bin saying she's decided to leave after all. She tells him her parents are at a shelter on Seapyeong Road, so she wants to get there as soon as possible to find them. But Park Sang-bin tells her terrible news. The Sukyeong Road shelter has completely fallen. If she really wants to go, she can wait until tomorrow and leave with them. But Han Yena insists on leaving now. Without waiting for his response, she's about to leave with Jong Min-jin. Unexpectedly, this moment, the others block their way. Park Sang-bin's gaze suddenly turns sharp. "What secret do you and Jong Min-jin have? What are you two suddenly up to?" Han Yi finally understands Jong Min-jin's concerns were right. She tries to appear calm, her trembling body betrays her. Nearby, Jong Min-jin thinks to himself, "Just as I thought, I knew things would turn out this way." He knows they can't confront Park Sang-bin and his group head-on right now. He pretends to persuade Han Yuna. "Let's go with them first, then explain properly." The two follow Park Song-bin through the underground passage. Looking at the densely stacked roadblocks on both sides of the path, Jong Min-jun suddenly realizes, no wonder infected can't get close to here. Seeing Han Yuna's worried expression beside him, he gently touches her, quietly reassuring her, "Don't worry, he's already decided from just now. He absolutely won't leave Han Yena's side." Just as he finishes speaking, a suddenly erupting roar startles Han Yena. Behind the tempered glass on one side, several infected are violently crashing against it. Seeing Han Yena cry out in fright, Park Song mocks her cowardice, then says those infected can't get in here. Jong Min-jun just finds it absurd to think they'd build a hideout in such a dangerous place, but then he sees the stairs leading to the second floor and understands why Park Song-bin told them not to worry. As long as they remove the stairs, infected can't come up. When the group reaches the second floor, Park Song-bin suddenly becomes respectful. "I brought the people back, bro." In front sits a fat man with a big head and ears. He asks puzzled, "Who are these people?" Upon hearing the girl beside Park Song-bin is the famous Han Yi-na. This fat guy Lee Bong-yu's eyes immediately light up. He tells Han Yi-na to settle down here peacefully, but she says Gongpa is about to be completely sealed off, so continuing to stay here probably isn't wise. Lee Bong-yu reveals this news is fake, explaining that the Fortress River Bridge and all roads leading to Gangnam have been sealed off, so they can only stay here and wait for the rescue team. Looking at the complete equipment inside the construction site, Jong Min-jon thinks to himself, did they prepare all this themselves? Could it be? At this moment, he notices several middle-aged men nearby and suddenly understands the hideout was originally built by those people, but was taken over by Lee Bong-gyu and his group on the other side after hearing Park Song-bin and Lee Bong-gyu discussing her. Han-yun curses inwardly, then pulls Park Song-bin aside, asking, "I don't want to hear your jokes right now. Can you let me leave here? You know very well I hate this kind of situation, especially those friends who hang around with you. I really can't stay here, and I can't trust what Lee Bong-gyu says. I think we should stick to the original plan and check it out." After speaking, she prepares to leave, but Park Song-bin suddenly grabs her hand. His tone full of threat. "You think everything can still go your way?" Han-in is too scared to speak. At this moment, Jong Min-jin steps forward and grabs Park Song-bin's hand, persuading don't do this. Seeing the person he used to bully dare to interfere, Park Song-bin is quite shocked. He glares at Jong Min-jin with sinister eyes, grinding his teeth. "Jong Min-jin, you bastard. You finally lost it. If I refuse, what can you do about it? Fuck, are you gonna stab me with that knife from earlier?" Their argument attracts Lee Bong-gu. Park Song-bin makes up some excuse to brush him off, then tells Lee Bong-gu that Jong Min-jin has a knife. "Lee Bong-gu has alarmed you with the glasses. You're carrying such a dangerous thing. Hand it over unless you want a beating." Jong Min-jin knows he can't let his only weapon be taken, but even with a knife, he can't handle 5 people. After weighing his options, he still hands over the knife. Seeing the matter resolved, Lee Bong-yu turns and puts his arm around Henyana's shoulder, inviting her to rest in the tent. When she sees the double bed inside the tent, Henyana's face shows panic as her mind frantically thinks of ways to stall for time. The next second, she thinks quickly and uses the excuse that she's hungry and wants to eat. Lee Bong-yu immediately says he looted lots of pork belly from a meat shop and wants to have a barbecue party. Hearing their conversation, Jong Min-jin feels powerless inside. This is just terrible. There are no police in this area at all. It's just like lawless territory, especially for Henyana. Those thugs are as dangerous as the infected. Lee Bong-yu will definitely not let her go. He frantically thinks of ways to immediately get her out of here. Should he let the infected in to create chaos? But what about the other survivors? Yet he also can't be sure those 3 men are completely trustworthy, or should they wait until late at night when everyone's asleep to escape? But what if they do something to Henyana before then? His mind is in turmoil, not knowing what to do for the moment. After this, everyone starts grilling meat. A lackey hands Jong Min-jin a plate of grilled meat, telling him to take it to those men. Looking at the meager amount of meat on the plate, Jong Min-jin thinks, this is too much. He decides to share his portion with those men too. Feeling Jong Min-jin's kindness, the men sincerely thank him. Night falls as expected. Looking at Han Yen sitting on the ground, Lee Bong-yu complains dissatisfied. "Why do you keep sitting there? Come rest together." Han Henyana firmly refuses him. "I'll just sleep outside the tent by myself." This statement angers Lee Bong-gyu, who immediately stands up about to walk toward her. But Park Song-bin blocks him. "Don't force her, bro," seeing Lee Bong-gyu's puzzled expression. His remaining patience runs out, his face darkening. "I said don't force her, you bastard. Park Song-bin, you son of a bitch. Are you crazy?" Lee Bong-yu starts cursing him wildly. But Park Song-bin says sinisterly, "Lee Bong-yu, when I decide to stay here with you, I already thought it through. If I'm going to kill, I'll kill you first." He approaches Lee Bong-yu, announcing word by word, "From now on, I'm the leader here." Lee Bong-yu can't take it anymore and swings a punch at him, but it's easily blocked by the other, who then locks his throat. A blonde lackey nearby is about to help, but gets hit in the head with a stick by Park Song-bin's lackey. The 3 quickly subdue Lee Bong-yu and his man. Watching this sudden turn of events, Jong Min-jin thinks, now's the time. He immediately shouts to Han Yun beside him, "Let's go," then rushes toward the stairs. Park Song-bin witnesses all this and orders catch them. The lackey in blue quickly grabs Han Yun, pulling out a knife to threaten. "Don't move if you don't want to die." but Han bites down hard on his hand. Taking advantage of his pained loosening, she hurries toward Jong Min-jin. Seeing the girl escape, the enraged lackey suddenly thrusts the knife at her. In the critical moment, Jong Min-jin steps forward and firmly blocks his knife-wielding hand. Seeing the class loser dare to ruin his plans, the lackey in blue kicks him hard. The blade in his hand slashes forward. Spattered blood drips down. Jong Min-jin's abdomen is slashed. Then another lackey in white kicks him to the ground. The two gang up on him. Hanyana also fails to escape. Park Sang-bin catches her and begins a twisted confession. Turns out he's been coveting her since middle school. His family background isn't bad. He dresses well and his physique is decent, yet she just won't look at him. What you can't have is most tempting. So he kept thinking about her until the darkness inside erupted like a volcano. At this moment, he shows an extremely evil twisted expression. Our precious Yaina, let me have you just once. At this moment, one of the men steps forward to stop him. Student, no matter what, you can't treat a girl like this. But Park Sang-bin unceremoniously kicks him to the ground. He looks down at the fallen man from above, his gaze cold. Didn't I warn you last time that if you meddle again, I'd kill you? He pronounces judgment like death itself. This is the second warning. Time to send you off. With that, he grabs the man's outer clothing and pushes him down hard. The loud crash immediately attracts the infected's attention. They quickly swarm over and attack the man. The other two men angrily protest. Park Sang-bin ignores them, having his two lackeys push them down too. Nearby, Han-in anxiously checks Jong Min-jin's injuries, urging him to flee quickly. Park Sang-bin appears behind her like a "Where are you running to, Yaina? Outside as hell, you should stay here and play with me." With that, he forcibly drags her away. The lackey in blue handles the aftermath, preparing to push Jong Min-jin down too. But because Jong Min-jin isn't light, he calls his companion to help drag him. Just as they're about to push him down, Jong Min-jin suddenly grabs his collar. He stumbles and falls down together with Jong Min-jun. The loud commotion alarms Park Sang-bin. The lackey in white quickly reports the accident. At this moment, the lackey in blue lies on the ground groaning in pain. He tries to get up, only to discover his right leg is broken. Nearby, Jong Min-jun shakily stands up wanting to leave, but the lackey in blue grabs his leg tightly. "Help me, Min-jun." Before he finishes speaking, infected from behind pounce on him. A piercing scream instantly echoes through the night sky. Witnessing the scene, the two on the second floor are terrified. Taking this chance, Han turns and runs. Park Sang-bin immediately chases after her. Hanyana leaps onto a supporting beam, then steps on the roadblock bit by bit trying to reach the opposite side. Park Sang-bin quickly catches up and shouts at her to stop. Hanyana ignores his threats and continues moving on top of the swaying bookshelf. She looks at the platform separated by some distance from the bookshelf feeling apprehensive, but Park Sang-bin is still shouting behind her. She knows she can't stop, so she takes a deep breath and jumps forcefully in one leap. She successfully lands on the other side. She looks back, only to see Park Sang-bin approaching her step by step. But when he steps on the last bookshelf, an accident happens. The already haphazardly stacked roadblock collapses in an instant. He falls straight to the first floor. Watching the bedraggled Park Sang-bin, Han Yi gets an idea. She shouts at those infected. "Over here, this direction. Everyone come this way." The commotion immediately attracts the infected's attention. Park Sang-bin rages impotently in fury, but soon has no time to care for himself. Infected are already charging at him. He immediately takes off running. Han Yaina looks around trying to find traces of Jong Min-jun, and the person she's worried about finally limps out from a corner. He struggles to grab the iron frame, slowly climbing up using the air conditioning unit. Han Yaina quickly reaches out to help and pulls him up. Before the two can catch their breath, the lackey in white catches up again. The two immediately jump down. Landing on the first floor on the other side, Han Yaina supports Jong Min-jun, slowly walking toward a quiet alley. Under the cover of night, the infected become even more frenzied. At this moment, Jong Min-jun suddenly speaks. "Han Yaina, take this chance to escape on your own." Hanyina refutes. "What are you saying? I'll definitely find a place to hide. I'll definitely save you." After walking a while, they come to a place with streetlights. At this moment, Hanyina notices an open door ahead with lights on inside. She walks in and discovers it's a warehouse. After confirming there's no movement inside, she decides to rest here briefly. After the double torment of knife wounds and fall injuries, Jang Minjun has exhausted all his strength. Looking at the weak boy before her, Han Yena's face shows worry. Please be okay. As she speaks, her eyes moisten and she can't help choking up. It's my fault. Because of me, you kept staying at home. Because of me, you were surrounded by infected and fell into danger. Because of me, you were brought to the construction site and got hurt, and I also caused you to be bullied at school. Just as she's crying, rhythmic footsteps suddenly sound behind her, looking at the shadow cast on the ground by the light. Han Yena's heart pounds. Who is it? The next second, a man carrying a backpack and wielding an axe emerges. Seeing Hanya and the boy, the man and his companion in green both breathe a sigh of relief, but the man in green looks at them more and more familiarly. And Hanya also remembers it's the man who helped them before. The two men noticed the injured Jang Min-jin on the ground and panic somewhat. He wasn't bitten by infected, was he? Han Yena quickly explains. He wasn't bitten. He was stabbed with a knife. The man in green asks his companion if he has a first aid kit. The companion answers yes, but inadvertently circles behind Han Yena and covers her mouth, controlling her. It turns out these two men have ill intentions toward her. Just as the two are discussing how to handle the girl, they don't notice the figure appearing at the door. Until that person speaks to stop them, everyone stop. I'll count to 3. Get out of here now. Before he finishes speaking, the man in green grabs his weapon and charges at him, but the newcomer pulls out a dagger, nimbly dodges the attack, then slits his throat in one clean motion. The blood spurting from his companion's neck makes the man in black tremble all over. He hurriedly holds the axe to Hanin in his neck, threatening, "Don't move. Try anything funny and I'll slit this girl's throat." Before he finishes, he's already been hit in the head by that person's throwing. Looking at the astonishingly powerful boy before her, Han Yena calls out in a daze, "You're Kong Hak-chul?" After this, Kong Hak-chul bandages Jang Min-jin's wound and explains, his wound isn't deep. There's no life-threatening danger. The fainting probably isn't from excessive blood loss, but from being beaten or hit. He needs at least a day of rest. Han Yena is curious why his bandaging technique is so skilled, and Kong Hak-chul says lightly he learned it by chance before. Speaking of which, this area is very dangerous. Why are you staying here? Han Yun explains in detail what happened. Learning that Park Song-bin is at the abandoned construction site and being chased by infected, Kong Hak-chul muses he might still be alive, and Yongshan Road is no longer safe now either. He tells Han Yun that due to loose organizational management, the number of infected has rapidly increased since yesterday. Now people crazier than the infected have also flooded into this area. Girls like you I've almost never seen outside, so you must be careful. Not just Yongshan Road. Most of Gongpa is no different from lawless territory. Why are you here then? Han Yana asks back. Kong Hak-chul answers calmly, I have some personal reasons. I originally planned to set out for Gangnam first thing tomorrow morning. This statement immediately delights Han Yana. Then she remembers the flyer's content, but the flyer said Gongpa was already sealed off today. The situation is even worse now, Kong Hak-chul says gravely. I'm not sure if all of Gongpa is sealed off, but all the bridges over the Fortress River leading to Gangnam were blocked at least 2 days ago. This news makes Han Yena's heart sink. Kong Hak-chul continues, however, it's not completely hopeless. If we can find a duck boat or small yacht, we should be able to cross the Fortress River. Han Yena asks worriedly. But is Gangnam really safe? Gangnam certainly can't guarantee 100% safety, but my sister has already gone to a shelter in Gangnam, so I have to go no matter what. Kong Hak-chul answers. Han Yun asks why he was separated from his sister, so he slowly explains. It turns out on the second day of the outbreak, he hid in a nearby temporary shelter with his sister and uncle. Soon, the military arrived saying Gongpa was too dangerous and they were transferring some survivors. Only but the elderly and children could be evacuated first, so he had to stay at the shelter. At that time, he asked the soldier, where are you taking my sister? The other only answered, we'll take her to the Gangnam shelter. Speaking to this point, Kong Hak-chul's tone drops, but the military never came back. What about your uncle? Han-in asks. Kong Hak-chul tells her that shortly after infected also appeared in the shelter. He successfully escaped, but his uncle became infected. After speaking, he picks up his backpack and stands, saying he'll set out as soon as it's light. Han-in urgently begs him to take them along, but Kong Hak-chul says taking 2 people is too much. In his experience, when 3 or more people travel together, there's often danger. At least one person will die. But Han Yana directly kneels to plead because with just her and Jong Min-jin, they have no idea how to escape from here. Kang Hak-chul silently watches her for a moment, then sighs. Han Yana, you've really changed a lot. Though we're in the same class, I don't really know you. I always feel you're very different from how you are at school. He ultimately agrees to her request, wait until dawn. After Jong Min-jin wakes up, then we'll talk. Get some good rest first the next morning. Kang Hak-chul wakes Han Yana asking, when you escaped from the abandoned construction site, you didn't see what happened to Song Bin in the end, right? After receiving her affirmative answer, he says he's going to the abandoned construction site. Han Yana strongly urges him not to go, believing Park Song Bin has already become infected. She sees him as her lifeline if something happens to you. Hearing this, Kang Hak-chul just smiles slightly. Do you want to know how my sister and I escaped from Country N when I was 12? Just because we trusted our uncle who settled in Country B, we started from inland Country N, evading surveillance all the way, crossing the river like ghosts, hiding and traversing through Country C, finally reaching Country T. We walked a full 10,000 kilometers over 2 years to escape, but along the way, I lost a younger brother. He instructs Han Yina to take care of Jong Min-jin, then leaves. After this, he arrives at the abandoned construction site, jumps onto the platform. Looking around, is Park Song Bin dead or alive? Before long, Jong Min-jin finally wakes up. He asks where they are now, and Han Yina explains everything that happened after he passed out. But Jong Min-jin says after falling from the second floor, he can't remember what happened after. Just as he's recalling, Han Yen suddenly holds his hand, choking up. Do you know how worried I was thinking you were going to die? Jong Min-jin's cheeks flush red from her gesture. Realizing the atmosphere is a bit awkward, Han Yen feels somewhat embarrassed and pushes Jong Min-jin away, then starts rambling complaints at him like usual. But at this moment, even Han Yena herself hasn't noticed that she's developed different feelings for Jong Min-jin. Not long after, knocking sounds and their hearts tighten. Only when they hear Kang Hak-chul's voice do they relax. Kang Hak-chul brings back Jong Min-jin's backpack. Not only that, he also retrieved Jong Min-jin's glasses. The unexpected recovery relaxes Jong Min-jin's mood considerably. At this moment, Han Yun asks, did you check the construction site? Park Sang-bin he. Kang Chul tells her Park Sang-bin isn't at the construction site. And aside from him, everyone else has already been infected, so we might run into Park Sang-bin. Han Yun is somewhat anxious. Kang Hak-chul tells her not to worry because when it comes to killing, he'll definitely win. Speaking of which, I said yesterday that I'm leaving Gongpa. He looks at the two people before him. Can you obediently follow me? Of course, even if we're leaving right now, we definitely have to go. Jong Min-jin answers. But we can't rush things. Let's make a plan first before acting. With that, Kang Hak-chul takes out a pen and starts writing on the whiteboard. After some thinking, he comes up with another way to cross the Fortress River, which is to take line 5. Jong Min-jin is surprised. The Fortress River underground passage, and Yina questions whether this method is viable because the density of infected in the subway is very high. Kang Hak-chul explains they just need to enter the tunnel through the glass doors installed at the Line 5 platform. But they're surely not the only ones with this idea, and the government might have already sealed the however, it's still worth checking out. Additionally, the nearest Line 5 station is Janjen Station, and the situation will become more dangerous after entering the Janjen district. He then begins explaining the escape plan in detail, talking until dusk. Finally, Kang Hak-chul tells them the survival rules they should follow. First, since Gongpa is already sealed off, don't rush or force actions. Even if they find a safe place, stay for several days, rest to recover strength, then set out again fully prepared. Second, aside from district movement, if they need to go out short distances from temporary resting places, 1 to 2 people must go together. When moving outdoors, avoid having all 3 go out simultaneously. Third, if they encounter a life-threatening dangerous situation, absolutely do not sacrifice yourself for others. After fully preparing everything, 3 set out the next morning. Just before leaving, Kang Hak-chul hands his mace to Jong Min-jin. Looking at the blood-stained weapon, Jong Min-jin feels his legs go weak. Seeing this, Kang Hak-chul encourages him, entrusting him with this important responsibility, and instructs him to strike the heart or pierce the head when encountering infected. Then the 3 come outside. At this moment, Jong Min-jun is still conflicted. Is it really okay to kill infected? The infected were once ordinary people. Although they rush over to kill me, that's not their choice. If I kill them, doesn't that make me a murderer too? What if this country's judicial system hasn't completely collapsed? Will my actions later be judged as criminal? However, Pang Ho-chul's words pull him back to reality. You're not thinking pointless thoughts, are you? Those slogans are garbage. His gaze is indifferent. This concerns life and death. You absolutely can't be distracted to survive. If you don't make up your mind, you'll die immediately. During their conversation, Han Yena walking ahead looks worriedly at what's in front. She hesitantly speaks. Can we not take this road? I feel like there are a lot of infected. How do you know? Kong Hak-chul asks. As long as infected get close, I can smell their distinctive stench. The smell here is especially strong, Han Yena answers. Kong Hak-chul is very surprised you can sense where the infected are. Han Yena explains it's a kind of intuition. Sometimes she can also sense corpses, but if there are only 1 or 2 infected, she can't detect them unless they're close. Zhang Minjun suddenly realizes it was like this several times before too. Han Yen has a keen sense of smell and reacts strongly to odors. At this moment, Kong Hak-chul says he'll personally go ahead to confirm. He walks to the corner and indeed discovers a large number of infected gathered there. After returning, he confirms the situation is accurate and points out they need to change routes. At this moment, Zhang Minjun signals the two to look up. There's an infected soldier on the rooftop of the building next door. They immediately enter this building. Kong Hak-chul observes with binoculars that there are at least 3 or more infected on the opposite rooftop. One of them is even carrying a rifle on their back. Zhang Minjun guesses he wants to get that gun and immediately tries to stop him. No one can guarantee there are bullets in the gun, and even if there are, the gunshot will attract more infected. Moreover, they don't even know how to use a rifle. But Kong Hak-chul says he knows how to use a gun and insists on getting it. Zhang Minjun no longer objects. He thinks again of the zombie game he used to play. Uneasiness surging in his heart. If reality truly syncs with the game, sooner or later, they'll need weapons like guns. So he agrees to Kong Hak-chul's plan. Kong Hak-chul tells Han Yen-ah to stay put, then he and Zhang Minjun come to the first floor open area. To avoid encountering other infected, they decide to climb the railing up to the rooftop. On the rooftop, Kong Hak-chul carefully peeks out his head. There are indeed only 3 infected on the terrace, but they're too close together, making it difficult to quietly take down any of them. At this moment, Kong Hak-chul proposes taking down these infected within 10 seconds. He'll handle the nearest infected, and when the other 2 rush over, Zhang Minjin will handle one of them. Seeing Zhang Minjin still hesitant, Kong Hak-chul reminds him again what they need to consider first right now is staying alive. For this, they must use any means necessary. Hearing this, Zhang Minjin finally makes up his mind. After this, Kong Chul climbs onto a bookshelf and jumps down forcefully. The commotion immediately attracts the infected's attention. He pulls out his knife wanting to take down the one in front, but that infected trips itself, causing his attack to miss. His heart sinks. We're done for. He hurriedly swings the knife forward in a slash, only to find the cut is too shallow. He quickly shouts, Zhang Minjun. Zhang Minjun immediately grabs the mace and appears behind one infected. Smashing hard at its head, that infected falls to the ground. Just as he thinks he's taken care of it, it suddenly springs up again and lunges at him, giving him quite a fright. Kong Hak-chul nearby sees this and thinks he can't kill infected this way, and at this moment, another infected has already rushed up to him. He fights desperately against the infected before him, realizing he must prioritize taking down this guy with a rifle. Thinking this, he stabs the opponent's neck. Though the opponent is killed, their body momentum knocks him down, causing his knife to fall to the ground. In the critical moment, he grabs that rifle, quickly chambers around, shoves the barrel into the other infected's mouth, and pulls the trigger, taking it down. On this side, Young Min-jin is still locked in struggle with the last infected. He anxiously calls out Kong Hak-chul's name. Kong Hak-chul nearby says quietly, Zhang Minjin, being able to do this the first time, you're already very brave, then raises the gun at the infected and shoots it dead. The gunshot is extremely loud. Even Han Yena inside on the other side can hear it clearly. She quickly uses binoculars to observe across the way. Finding both are unharmed, she finally relaxes. On this side, Zhang Minjin feels guilty for not being able to help, but Kong Hak-chul says he did his best and just needs to practice swinging the bat more in the future. Zhang Minjin curiously asks if he's used a gun before, then Kong Hak-chul answers he fired 2 or 3 times when he was 12. He then starts counting the remaining bullets. At this moment, Jong Min-jun notices roaring coming from downstairs. The gunshot must have attracted nearby infected. When she finds the two have disappeared from view, Han Ina prepares to go to the first floor to meet them, but hears strange noises from downstairs. She looks out the window and sees a large number of infected gathering toward Jong Min-jin in the other's direction. She starts worrying about their safety, hesitating whether she should continue waiting here. Suddenly, she notices an infected downstairs looking up. The moment their eyes meet, that infected actually smiles eerily. Han Yena is so frightened, she immediately hides. Her heart in turmoil. It actually smiled at me? At this moment, rhythmic footsteps echo in the hallway. At an angle Han Yena can't see, that infected is slowly climbing the stairs. Hearing this terrifying noise, she thinks, that's impossible. When Kong Hak-chul and the others left, they clearly closed the first floor entrance and blocked it with nearby items. She's puzzled. How did it get in? Would infected do this kind of thing? At this moment, that infected has already reached Hanjana's floor. She closes her eyes tightly, not daring to make a sound, but is still discovered. She sees it swaying as it walks toward her. Hanjana happens to open her eyes at this moment and sees the infected grinning at her, scaring her into screaming. Just then, someone delivers a fierce strike piercing through its head. It turns out Kong Hak-chul and Jong Min-jun arrived just in time. The three then enter a restroom for a brief adjustment. After hearing Han Yun's description, Kong Hak-chul also finds it hard to believe. Han Yun explains that making eye contact with that infected felt just like making eye contact with a real person. Kong Hak-chul also says when they came back just now, they found the obstacles on the first floor all knocked over and the door damaged, just like an uninfected person deliberately broke in. But from what he knows, infected behavior patterns only consist of attack instincts. Jong Min-jin nearby speculates that a few infected might be special infected or are gradually mutating. Maybe they not only can climb ladders or jump, but in the future might even coordinate to formulate strategies to attack survivors, and their physical abilities might evolve too. Kong Hak-chul asks how he knows this. Then explains to them about the zombie game he used to play, but those two don't take it seriously after hearing and just think he's talking nonsense. Then they start taking inventory of the weapons they found, one K2 rifle with 15 bullets, 2 military knives. Kong Hak-chul distributes the 2 knives to Jong Min-jun and Han Yena. Seeing Han Yena somewhat hesitant, he reminds her to learn self-defense as soon as possible. She can't always wait for others to save her. Not only that, but he also needs to teach them both how to use the rifle. If I die, Jong Min-jun, you'll have to know how to use this rifle, Han Yena. There might also be situations where you need to shoot. As soon as he finishes speaking, the atmosphere becomes somewhat stagnant. Then the two tell him not to say such unlucky things, also saying people who usually say such things die first. But Kong Chul firmly states that everyone will survive. Jong Min-jin sits down beside Han Yena, saying he's willing to learn to shoot. He turns to ask her, "What about you?" But Han Yena suddenly turns her head away from him while also scooting away. She says suddenly, "I don't know." She pauses and "Don't come near me." Jong Min-jun finds it strange. "What's wrong with you?" Han Yena answers, "I just don't want to be near you right now." Hearing him and Kong Hak-chul speaking in low voices, Han Yena thinks helplessly that loser really can't read the room. She lowers her head to sniff herself. Her heart uneasy. "These past few days I haven't been able to shower. Could I have a weird smell?" On second thought, staying alive is most important right now, yet I'm still worrying about this. I'm such an idiot too. The reason she cares so much and doesn't want to be near Jong Min-jin is because she's afraid he'll smell any odor on her. She's also gradually discovering she's starting to care more and more about his opinions. Thinking this, she quietly lowers her head, her face slightly flushing. After resting briefly, the three continue on. Kong Hak-chul asks Han Ina if they can take this road. She says they can. At this moment, Jong Min-jin notices something wrong with Kong Hak-chul's leg. Kong Chul says when he fell with the infected earlier, he got injured, probably a ligament strain. Seeing the main fighter injured, Jong Min-jun is very alarmed. But Kong Chul says this is nothing for him, then proposes they need to find a place to sleep. Suddenly, Hanyana stops in front of an iron door. She smells infected. The next second, violent roaring of infected comes from behind the iron door. At this moment, someone shouts down at them from the rooftop, "Hey, you're survivors, right?" A middle-aged man helplessly pleads, "I've been trapped on the roof for 2 days. Please help me." Kong Hak-chul asks how he got trapped. The man says he came out looking for daily necessities and ended up being chased by infected to the rooftop. He says the iron door downstairs was also closed because when he called out to other survivors before, when they heard they were infected inside, they pulled the door shut. Kong Hak Chul asks how many infected are in the building. The man answers about 6 or 7. Thinking of such a large number, Kong Hak Chul ponders for a moment, then refuses the man's request for help, saying he's unable to help. He ignores the man's pleas and turns to leave. Seeing him about to leave, the man can't help choking up and loudly pleading, "Please help me. My wife and son are still waiting for me to come home." Han-yun can't bear it and asks, "Is it okay for us to just leave like this?" Jong Min-jun also asks, "Might there be another way?" Hearing this, Kong Hak-chul helplessly lowers his head and sighs deeply, then compromises by asking, "What way?" After Jong Min-jun explains, they arrive in front of a tunnel. Kong Hak-chul confirms, "You mean after opening the iron door, lure the infected onto the road we just walked? After shaking them off, escape back here and take the chance to push that white car to block the tunnel, right?" Jong Min-jun says he has relevant experience. When he was young, he and his late father once pushed a car parked in the middle of the road together, so he thinks they have the ability to move this car. But since Kong Hakul sprained his ankle, he'll be responsible for luring away the infected, escaping outside the tunnel, then circling back. When he returns, Han Yina and Kong Hak-chul will push the car to block the tunnel. After hearing this, Kong Hak-chul asks if he runs fast, and Jong Min-jun says his running ability is above average, and he's not afraid of infected either. Looking at the tunnel before them that only allows one person through, Kong Hak-chul thinks this method could work. But what he's most curious about is why Jong Min-jun is willing to risk saving that man. Setting aside the survival rules they discussed earlier, risking their lives to save people doesn't benefit them at all. Han Yun is also persuaded and agrees with Kong Hak-chul's view. But Jong Min-jun thinks of those men at the abandoned construction site. Their faces and expressions are very similar to this man asking for help now. He says quietly, "I just feel that person isn't a bad guy. He reminds me of those men who died at the construction site and also reminds me of my dad." His words seem to touch Kong Hak-chul, who no longer argues. Then they discuss the specific operation. They try once first, successfully moving the car. After pushing the car forward a distance, the operation officially begins. At this moment, Kong Hak-chul suddenly says, "Aside from my sister, I really don't want to risk my life for others. This is the last time." His tone serious, "Don't take this kind of risk again." Jong Min-jun nods in agreement. Then he enters that building deliberately shouting loudly, then quickly rushes out with a group of crazed infected behind him. He goes through the tunnel as planned. After confirming all infected have been lured into the tunnel, Kong Hak-chul and Han Yena immediately act, hiding behind the car observing Jong Min-jun's movements at the other end of the tunnel. At this moment, Henyana is nervous to the extreme, silently praying in her heart, "Please don't let anything happen." Fortunately, before long, Jong Min-jun's figure finally appears. He runs while shouting, "Now push." They quickly push the car into the tunnel blocking the exit. Those infected are completely trapped inside. Jong Min-jun stops to catch his breath and sees the rescued man kneeling on the ground thanking them. Seeing he's about to kowtow, Jong Min-jun quickly stops him. After this, they transfer to a safe location. Through conversation, Jong Min-jun and the others learn the man came out looking for a gas canister. It turns out the man's house not only has running water, but also has solar panels for electricity, only lacking gas. After Kong Hak-chul checks around, he finds the supplies here are indeed sufficient. The man then says that to search for his daughter's whereabouts, he comes to the area once every day. He asks where Jong Min-jun and the others plan to go. Han Yen, a nearby, explains they plan to leave Gongpa and head south. She then asks about the man's daughter's disappearance, and the man says after receiving a message that his daughter was on her way home, he lost contact with her. So he had his wife and son stay home while he went out to find his daughter, but his car got stuck halfway and he struggled to escape back home. After hearing the man's account, Han Yena is very moved and hopes he can find his daughter soon. At this moment, the man suddenly asks, "How do you have a gun?" Kong Hakul pauses and lies, "Found it on the road." The man asks again, "The sun's about to set. Where are you planning to stay?" They say they'll just find a place to rest. Hearing this, the man immediately invites them to stay at his house, saying it's a detached residence with water and electricity and enough food. Unexpectedly, this time, Kong Hak-chul agrees quickly, surprising the other two. But since their leader agreed, they naturally have no objections. The man then brings them to his house. Looking at the spacious detached residence before him, Jang Minjun can't help exclaiming. He notices the solar panels and the wire mesh on the outer walls, thinking, if the water hasn't been cut off, this really is the safest house. At this moment, with a click, Tang Chul chambers around. Seeing the man somewhat frightened, he explains, because we've encountered too many crazy people recently. We have to be cautious entering unfamiliar places. Please understand, sir. Looking at my friend, you should also understand we're not robbers. Please don't worry. The man is still nervous. I understand. At the same time, the surviving Park Song-bin has stumbled into the office where Jang Minjun and the others once stayed. He's holding a knife, his body covered in spattered bloodstains. Along the way, he not only has to deal with infected, but also guard against those crazy humans, which irritates him greatly. He just sits down to rest and notices the content not erased from the whiteboard. Looking at several familiar names on it, he quietly sneers, these bastards, so they were hiding here before, and even ran into Kong Hak Chul? Then he discovers Jang In Station has been marked, suddenly realizing Jang In Station, so they want to take Line 5 across the Fortress River. On the other side, hearing the man anxiously calling for his wife and child, Kong Hak Chul stops Jang Minjun, who's about to step forward. Wait, he walks at the front. I'll go in first. Looking at the man's back, he thinks, if this man is lying to us, then we'll have no choice but to immediately seize this house. But when Kong Hak Chul sees the scene inside clearly, he's stunned. A family of 3 is hugging each other and crying. Kong Hak Chul also relaxes his guard and lowers his gun. After this, the hostess named Moon Jian warmly welcomes them, saying she'll cook first and everyone can take showers. Hearing they can shower, Han Yena's eyes immediately light up. At this moment, Moon Jian holds her hand, praising her beauty, repeatedly saying she's just like a big star. Hearing all this praise makes Han Yena very shy. Then Moon Jian pauses and puts away her smile, saying dejectedly, my daughter is about your age too. Just started college this year, but unexpectedly went missing a few days ago. Han Yena immediately comforts her, your daughter must still be alive. Quietly listening to their conversation, Jang Minjun inadvertently glances over and discovers the man's son is secretly watching them. Finding his peeking discovered, the boy immediately runs away. Jang Minjun silently thinks, their son looks like he should already be in elementary school. At this moment, he walks toward Kong Hak Chul sitting on the sofa. How's your foot? Seeing Kong Hak Chul's obviously swollen ankle, he exclaims, my God, is this serious? Kong Hak Chul says lightly, if possible, it's best to rest here for several days before leaving. He says just to be safe, they need to carefully check this house. Jang Minjin can't help admiring his meticulousness and vigilance. At 7:30 p.m., everyone starts having dinner. This is also the first proper meal Jang Minjin and the others have had in, so at this moment, the man Seo Jae-hoon asks Kong Hak Chul how they plan to get to Gangnam. Kong Hak Chul tells him the planned route. After hearing, Seo Jae-hoon quickly says his daughter went missing at Gwangnawar Station on Line 5. Kong Hak Chul thinks to himself, Gwangnawar Station is the closest Line 5 to the Fortress River, about 6 or 7 stations from Jangon Station, and also the last station before crossing the Fortress River. He tells Seo Jae-hoon this information. Seo Jae-hoon also agrees. He originally drove to find his daughter, but got blocked on the way to Gwangnawar Station, so he abandoned the car and walked to Jonghen Station, only to find it had already been taken over by infected. Kong Chul asks if it's difficult to drive other routes. Seo Jae-hoon says most roads are blocked by abandoned vehicles or obstacles. Driving rashly would be very dangerous. These words also make Kong Chul give up his original plan to drive. Night deepens. Moon Ji-yeon brings them to her daughter's room, saying they can rest in her daughter's and son's rooms. But Jang Min-jun says he and Kong Hak Chul can sleep in the living room. So Moon Ji-yeon arranges for Han Yun to sleep in the room. However, Han Yun looks back at Jang Min-jun, then says she also wants to sleep in the living room. Jang Min-jin urges her to sleep in the bed. After all, she hasn't slept well these past few days, but Han Yena says again it's fine. What's wrong? Wouldn't sleeping alone be more comfortable? You just said you didn't want to be near me, so why now? He seems to suddenly remember something. You said you're afraid to sleep alone. Before he finishes, Han Yena punches him. She storms out, leaving a bewildered Jang Min-jin behind. Before bed, Jang Min-jin asks Kong Hak Chul how the inspection went, and Kong Hak Chul says there's nothing abnormal. They can rest easy. Tossing and turning for a long time, Han Yun still can't fall asleep. She asks softly, "Are you asleep?" Kang Hakchul is already asleep. Only Jong Min-jin responds to her. Han Yun sits up since that's the case. "Keep me company and chat." She asks, "What do you think about when you can't sleep?" "I think about my mom." Jong Min-jin answers. "Wonder if she's safe. She must be very worried about me too. Seeing this family makes me miss her even more." After hearing this, Han Yen solemnly promises, "I'll definitely help you find your mom." Jong Min-jin also sits up, asking, "Aren't your parents' whereabouts still unknown even now?" His eyes full of concern. "Are you really okay?" Han Yena falls into brief silence, then speaks. "Okay. I should be able to tell you. I've never told anyone about my parents. Actually, I'm from a remarried family. The whole family fell apart long ago." Han Yenha tells him her father is a doctor at a well-known general hospital, and her mother is a medical researcher. They divorced when she was young, her mother went abroad, and since then, she's lived with her father and stepmother. She tells Jong Min-jun that after separating from him that day, she returned home as usual. Just entering the door, she saw clothes scattered all over the floor. Hearing the unbearable moaning from the room, she thinks, "Fuck. This is crazy." The reason her stepmother dares to cheat so brazenly is because she has dirt on her father, plus her father works too much and is rarely home. Then she goes to her room to change clothes as if seeing nothing. But her stepmother Choi Soo-jin angrily barges in demanding why she came home so early. Han Yena says she's going out again right away, then sarcastically says her stepmother is nervous because she's afraid of being heard having an affair. The two immediately start arguing. At this moment, Choi Soo-jin's lover also walks in disheveled. Han Yena takes the opportunity to take a photo with her phone, threatening Choi Soo-jin she'll send the photo to her father. But Choi Soo-jin casually lights a cigarette, telling her to send it if she wants, saying even if Han Yena sends it to her father, that man won't dare say a word. She arrogantly blows smoke at Han Yena, saying Han Yena's father has dirt in her hands. She shouts at Han Yena to tell her father to divorce. She herself has nothing to lose in life anyway. But if her father dares divorce, she'll expose his secret and ruin him completely. Han Yena doesn't want to deal with this crazy woman anymore and pushes past Choi Soo-jin out of the room, hearing Choi Soo-jin and her lover trading insults at her behind. Hanyana can't stand it and goes straight out the door. Walking on the road, she vows in her heart never to return to that disgusting, filthy home. She can't help hoping if only the world would end tomorrow. After that came the outbreak of chaos. Hiding in the conference room, after failing to call 119, she starts contacting her father. But her father doesn't answer her calls. Her mother far away in country K definitely can't help, so she can only contact the person she least wants to find, Choi Soo-jin. But when she asks her stepmother to come pick her up, the other tells her to figure it out herself, then hangs up the phone. The mechanical busy tone on the phone reminds her of the scene of arguing with her mother the day her parents divorced. Back then, she locked her mother who wanted to talk to her outside the door, feeling utterly helpless. Her feelings right now are the same as then. She can't help shedding tears. Curled up behind the door choking out, "Mom, I miss you so much. In the end, my stepmother abandoned me, escaped on her own, and I never managed to contact my dad." Aniana narrates quietly. "So I don't want to look for them, and I don't care where they are. Right now, I just really miss my mom." Hearing this, Jong Min-jun suddenly understands. So the reason she always said she wanted to study abroad in country K was because of this. Aniana says when her mother left, she said many hurtful things that must have pained her mother greatly. So whether before the disaster or now, she doesn't dare contact her mother. "So right now I'm all alone." Jong Min-jin says seriously, "Don't say that. You still have me and Hak Chul." His gaze firm, "So we must survive together." On the other side, the long-asleep Kong Hak Chul has a dream. In the dream, he returns to that day in country N witnessing his parents' execution. At that time, he was beaten until covered in wounds. That man's mockery ringing in his ears, "You and your siblings, you little bastards, just scrape by on this land. That's your fate." The dream abruptly cuts off. Kong Chul's eyes snap open. Then he hears the roar of a car engine outside the window. This noise also wakes Seo Jae-hoon, who tells Kong Hak-chul a car has stopped at the front door, and Kong Hak-chul says he'll go check. He walks outside just in time to hear the car door opening and closing. At this moment, he notices a ladder placed by the wall, so he uses it to climb to the highest point. When he sees the scene outside the gate clearly, his heart jolts. Two survivors are standing outside the gate. One of them is actually holding a handgun. He immediately raises his gun at the two. Don't move. Drop your weapons. Hands up. His appearance startles those two. The boy in the camouflage jacket complies and puts down the handgun. Kong Chul continues asking, "Are you raiders?" The two claim they're not suspicious people. Kong Chul obviously doesn't believe them, carrying weapons and trespassing in a private residence, still making excuses, but the other explains they thought this was an empty. Kong Hak Chul asks where they got the handgun, and the camouflage boy says he took it from an ordinary civilian's corpse. Kong Hak Chul is even more suspicious. How would an ordinary civilian have a handgun? The camouflage boy asks back, doesn't Kong Hak Chul also have a rifle? To this, Kong Hak Chul responds, this rifle is very common in the military. Your handgun doesn't look like a model used by military or police at all. At this moment, the man in the jacket quickly explains he's just an office worker, and the camouflage boy is a reserve university student who just finished military service. They originally came out on patrol from the shelter at Gunja Station, but got trapped on the way and couldn't get back, so they came here. Hearing this, Kong Hak Chul is shocked. Gunja Station on line 5? While thinking that's 2 stations before Gwangnawar Station, right? There's a large shelter there, the jacket man answers. From subsequent questioning, Kong Hak Chul learns the subway stations before and after Gunja Station are all occupied by infected, but the jacket man says other information is inconvenient to disclose. Kong Hak Chul insists he needs more intelligence. If you can provide useful information, I can agree to your conditions. Have you heard of a girl named Saw Hak Kyung? The two say talking outside will attract infected and request to go inside to talk. Hang Chul agrees but demands they not bring weapons inside, so the two enter the gate. After explaining the situation to Seo Jae-hoon, the jacket man asks him, your daughter took line 5 home and lost contact near Gwangnawar Station, right? And the phone lost connection at 8:10 that night. Seo Jae-hoon quickly answers, yes. That's right. He says when he talked to his daughter, she was almost at Gwangnawar Station, but he's not sure if she got off at that station. The jacket man says he was also on the subway from Gwangnawar Station to Gunja Station at that time. An infected appeared in one car, causing the subway to pass stations without stopping, like an express train passing Gwangnawar and Dakusan stations before stopping at Gunja Station. The time was approximately 8:10 to 8:15. Seo Hak Kyung very likely was on the same train. Kong Hakul nearby adds, if what he says is true, then sir, there's a high possibility your daughter is at Gunja Station. Seo Jae-hoon finds his daughter's photo on his phone and shows it to the jacket man. But the other hasn't seen her because just the survivors from that subway trip exceeded 200 people, not to mention the entire shelter. He can't even confirm whether Seo Hae-kyung has already become infected. After speaking, the jacket man asks Seo Jae-hoon if he wants to travel with them because the shelter now prohibits outsiders from entering, and breaking in alone might get him shot by guards. But Kong Hakul says traveling together is difficult, so the jacket man suggests setting up a relay station on the way to Gunja Station. If Kong Hakul and the others drive there, he can tell them the passage route. He and his companion will hide nearby and set out tomorrow. He hands Kong Hakul a walkie-talkie, saying he'll hide within a 500 to 1,000 meter range and contact via walkie-talkie before reaching the relay station. Then he requests Kong Hak Chul provide 2 days' worth of food. We've gone this far. You should be able to trust us, right? The jacket man asks. This time, Kong Hak Chul doesn't question further and gives them the food. Back inside, Kong Hak Chul tells Han Yena and Jong Min Jin his plan. Han Yena worries those 2 survivors might be lying, but Kong Hak Chul thinks they have no need to fabricate such lies, and they don't seem like bad people. After explaining, he asks Seo Jae-hoon about his plans. If we're going on foot, we probably can't travel together with your family. However, if we can find a 6-seater vehicle, we should be able to move together to the relay station. But he emphasizes that if they encounter dangerous situations along the way, he'll prioritize self-preservation, and Seo Jun needs to figure out how to protect his family himself. Please think it over carefully. These words leave Seo Jun's family in silence as they can't make an immediate decision right now. Then Han Yen starts organizing the food they need to bring. Midway, she suddenly realizes she hasn't seen Jong Min Jin. So she goes upstairs to find him and sees Jong Min Jin chatting with Seo Jae-hoon's son Seo Jin about games they both like. Learning that Jong Min Jin also likes that famous zombie game, Seo Jin reveals his dream is to become a developer of such games. Listening to them discuss enthusiastically, Hanyana can't help interrupting. When did you two become so close? Then she glances at the wall and discovers Seo-jin is a fan of the popular girl group Lumina. At this moment, Seo-jin is called away by his while Jong-min-jin stares at Jen on the poster, lost in thought. Seeing this, Han-yen asks, is she your type? Jong-min-jin's answer surprises her. She's someone I knew when I was young. As soon as he says this, Han-yen bursts out laughing, mocking him for being delusional. Jong-min-jin explains seriously, really? She's 1 year younger than me. After I started middle school, she moved away and we haven't been in contact since. He slowly stands after learning she became an idol. I've been silently cheering her on, though her world has become very distant from me. Seeing Hanyana still looking disbelieving, he says helplessly, forget it if you don't believe me. I told my friends too, and they all said my delusions are too severe. Then he leaves the room. Although Hanyana mocks him verbally, somehow she actually starts to believe Jong Min-jin's words. Later, Seo Jae-hoon finds Kong Hak-chul, saying his family has decided to go to the Gunja station shelter together. He also explains he's already thought about what vehicle to take. 1 kilometer from the residence, there's an ambulance. Although there are infected in the car, they just need to clear them out. However, from his observations, there are 2 infected in the driver and passenger seats. Though he can't see inside the cabin, he heard movement, so he estimates there may be 3 or more infected in the vehicle. He adds that he discovered that vehicle 3 days ago, and estimates it's still in the same place. Kong Hak-chul agrees with Seo Jae-hoon's suggestion and decides to go with him tomorrow to handle the infected in the vehicle after inventorying everyone's luggage and backpacks. While Kong Hak-chul is still thinking about what supplies they're missing, Jong Min-jun suggests trying to make Molotov cocktails. Kong Hak-chul thinks this method is feasible and agrees. At night, the jacket man asks Kong Hak-chul via walkie-talkie if he found a vehicle. Kong Hak-chul tells him his plan. So the jacket man says they'll wait at a nearby crossroads. And once Kong Hak-chul and the others confirm the situation tomorrow, they'll set out together. At this time, the sleeping Han-yun has a dream. In the dream, she wakes up in an empty classroom, looking at the time on the wall with no time to wonder why no one woke her. She hurries outside, only to run straight into Jong Min-jin. She asks why he's here. He doesn't answer, just stares straight at her, then suddenly grabs her hand and roughly pins her against the wall. This sudden action makes her nervous. She sternly orders him to let go, but he curses under his breath, demanding, "You wicked woman, have you enjoyed looking down on me all this time, ignoring me at school, treating me like an insect, so why are you talking to me now? Do you want me to be rough with you too?" The statement immediately makes her blush. Then the two seem to be arguing, but actually the atmosphere becomes somewhat ambiguous. And in reality, Hanyena is also murmuring in her sleep. Then she slowly wakes up, only to find that at some point she's actually sleeping while holding Jong Min-jin. The intimate distance between them makes her heart pound wildly. At the same time, she also feels somewhat strange. Before, she always felt he had an unpleasant smell that made her not want to get close. Now she only smells a reassuring scent, then she can't help carefully studying his sleeping face, suddenly thinking he looks quite handsome. As soon as this thought emerges, Henyana wonders if something's wrong with her brain. Just then, Jong Min-jun suddenly opens his eyes, giving her quite a fright. Out of instinct, she screams "You jerk" while punching him. Even the sleeping Kong Hak-chul is awakened. He thinks infected have broken in and grabs his gun without even fully opening his eyes. Jong Min-jun asks Henyana in panic what's wrong, but she suddenly starts trembling, saying with a sob, "You're so annoying. You cursed at me and tried to hit me. So annoying." After saying this, she kicks Jong Min-jun in the chin, then wraps herself tightly in the blanket and turns to sleep, leaving a completely bewildered Jong Min-jun. "I cursed at Han Yen." The next day, fog pervades and dark clouds block the sun, not a ray of sunlight visible. Before departure, Kong Ho-chul repeats the plan again. He and Seo Jae-hoon will drive the ambulance back home, then Han Yena and Jong Min-jin will be responsible for opening the garage door, then load luggage and depart. He instructs Jong Min-jin to go upstairs to monitor the surroundings, and before they return, he must have a good grasp of the situation nearby. After speaking, the two set out. During the time Kong Hak-chul and Seo Jae-hoon are out, Jong Min-jun keeps observing with binoculars, but never sees the two's figures. But unexpectedly at this moment, gunshots suddenly come from not far away. Han asks if these gunshots are from Kang Hak-chul, but Jong Min-jin thinks not because that sound is different from rifle shots. He guesses it's those two survivors from yesterday who fired. Suddenly, Han Yana smells an extremely strong stench, so strong it almost makes her vomit. She says in panic that something is approaching. The next second, a not-so-unfamiliar voice rings out, "Open the door." Jong Min picks up binoculars to look. The jacket man from yesterday is desperately running this way. He's covered in blood, tightly gripping a gun. He rushes outside and pounds on the gate, shouting at Jong Min-jin to open. The Jong Min-jin asks where his companion is, and the other answers his companion is dead, questioning why Kang Hak-chul didn't respond to the radio. A monster appeared, he says with a trembling voice, his eyes full of despair. Even shooting can't kill it. Jong Min-jin also sees the monster he mentioned. The monster's body is abnormally large, covered in jiggling fat. Its mouth keeps mumbling Yena. It's actually Lee Bong-yu. At this moment, Jong Min-jun just feels terrified. Everything coincides with the plot of the zombie game he played. The kind of fat zombie in the game that's hard to defeat has actually appeared in reality. In this instant, the unease that's been lingering in his heart is finally confirmed at this moment. A few minutes ago, looking at the infected in the vehicle, Kang Hak-chul asks if CEO Jae-hoon can reverse and escape after starting the vehicle, and SEO Jae-hoon says no problem. At this moment, gunshots from not far away attract their attention. Then the jacket man's call comes through the walkie-talkie. "Hauchul, did you find the car? Come quick, there's a problem here." Kang Hauchul immediately realizes it's those two who fired and quickly urges CEO Jae-hoon to deal with the infected in the car. After the two agree on tactics, they immediately take action. On this side, Jong Min-jun quickly opens the door for the jacket man. Just as the jacket man is about to rush in, an infected suddenly appears from behind and pounces him to the ground. This sudden situation leaves Jong Min-jun at a loss, while Han Yanin nearby urgently tells him to get inside quickly. At this moment, she sees the monster like terrifying Lee Bong-yu behind the numerous infected and is immediately so frightened she collapses to the ground. Seeing he can't save the jacket man, Jong Min-jun has no choice but to quickly close the door. He murmurs, "Got to escape. Just the rifle won't be enough to handle Lee Bong-yu. We have to wait for Kang Hak-chul to return." As soon as he finishes speaking, violent pounding sounds on the door. Immediately after, the originally solid and sturdy iron door is actually smashed with a deep dent. Moon Ji-young comes out hearing the noise to ask what's happening, and Jong Min-jong quickly tells her to take Seo Jun to hide on the second floor. His mind rapidly thinks of countermeasures. Finally, thinking of fire, that's right, Molotov cocktails. He quickly tells Han Yina beside him, "Lee Bong-yu will definitely break through the door. He might even smash through the entrance door to get in looking for you. I'll throw Molotov cocktails at the main door to buy time. There's still gasoline left from making Molotov cocktails yesterday. Once he breaks in, pour gasoline on him. I'll continue attacking with Molotov cocktails. This will attract a large number of infected. So after you pour the gasoline, go upstairs and use Molotov cocktails to block them. Understand?" Seeing Hanyina still in shock, he raises his voice and shouts, "I'm asking if you can do it." Only then does Han Yena snap back and nod in agreement. Then Jung Min-jin rushes into the house to grab Molotov cocktails. Walking outside, he thinks Lee Bong-yu's commotion will attract more infected. The moment the door is smashed, all infected will pour in. But according to my speculation, even infected with extremely strong attack instincts should fear flames. They might be afraid of fire. At least this can prevent infected from swarming in all at once. Sure enough, Lee Bong-yu destroys the iron door with one punch. He steps through the flames but remains unharmed. Looking at the giant before him, Jong Min-jun thinks, if we don't take him down, everyone will die. At this moment, Han Yina's shout attracts Lee Bong-yu's attention. "You pervert, are you looking for me?" She pours a large bucket of gasoline from the second floor, drenching Lee Bong-yu thoroughly. Jong Min-jun takes the opportunity to throw a Molotov cocktail at him. Flames instantly consume Lee Bong-yu's body. Jong Min-jun tells Han Yena and Moon Jian on the second floor to continue attacking the invading infected with Molotov cocktails, but there are too many infected gathering. They really can't hold them off. Jong Min-jin thinks, if only we had Hak-chul's rifle. Seeing the two on the second floor have used up all the Molotov cocktails, he picks up the last Molotov cocktail wanting to throw it, but is pinned to the ground by an infected that suddenly pounces. Han Yun immediately wants to go downstairs to save him, but Jong Min-jin shouts to stop her, not letting her come down. Seeing himself surrounded by infected, he thinks silently, is this as far as I can go? Just as he thinks he's certainly doomed, someone shoots the infected in front of him in the head. Then comes Kong Hak-chul's voice, get up. While the infected haven't closed in, stand up quickly. At this moment, Lee Bong-yu wrapped in flames is still trying to struggle to his feet. Time is pressing. Everyone starts quickly and orderly loading luggage onto the vehicle. Kong Hak-chul is responsible for shooting down the continuously surging infected. After taking down the nearest infected, only one bullet remains in his magazine. He quickly gets in the vehicle. The vehicle immediately departs. After this thrilling, fierce battle, the vehicle is left with only post-disaster silence. Jong Min-jin recalls what just happened. This is the first time he's witnessed someone lose their life at such close range. Thinking of this, he feels the wound on his abdomen starting to ache faintly. In the front driver's seat, the two are discussing the travel route. According to the route provided by the jacket man, turning left from Life Tavern and continuing straight will reach the destination. SEO Jae-hoon sees there's still some time before dark and suggests going to Gungja Station to look first, but Kong Hak-chul says the weather is gloomy with low visibility and suggests going to the meeting point first, waiting for clear weather. At this moment, they happen to drive to Sky Hotel. The hotel interior is dark and gloomy, looking somewhat terrifying. After confirming, Kong Hak-chul says rooms 202, 203, and 206 on the second floor are relatively safe, telling everyone to rest in these rooms separately. He instructs everyone that rooms with X-shaped marks are very dangerous and absolutely cannot be entered. Also are infected in the fourth floor hallway. Absolutely cannot go up. After discussion, the team of 3 still moves into the same room. Upon entering, Jong Min-jun silently walks into the bathroom without a word. He feels his wound is hurting more and more. When he lifts the gauze on the wound, he's instantly stunned. Signs of mutation have actually appeared around the wound, just like being infected. He can't help recalling where exactly he got infected. He suspects he was bitten by the infected that just pounced on him. But after checking, there's no wound on his wrist. He also guesses he was infected through the wound after being stabbed at the construction site. And after falling from the building, he did lose consciousness. But if he was infected then, he should have mutated long ago. He also remembers when Kong Hak-chul shot the infected just now. Blood splattered into his eyes. He can't help wondering if bodily fluids can transmit through eyes or mouth. Perhaps Kong Chul's previous judgment was wrong, or maybe this is just wound inflammation, but a sudden dizziness reminds him the reality may not be so. His intuition tells him he's really been infected. Seeing Jong Min-jun has been in the bathroom for over half an hour, Han Yun can't help worrying, unable to resist urging him to come out quickly. As soon as she finishes speaking, Jong Min-jun silently walks out, then says he wants to sleep in a room alone tonight. Han Yun asks why, and he says he's just in a bad mood and wants to be alone. But Han Yun feels awkward being alone in a room with Kong Hak-chul as a man and woman, so she tries to persuade Jong Min-jin to stay in a light tone. But Jong Min-jin is unusually serious. I'm not in the mood to joke, please, then leaves directly. Kong Hak-chul also says he's going to share a room with Seo Jun and Seo Jun and walks out too, leaving only the dejected Han In. Jong Min-jun returns to his room alone in gloom. Before this, he thought he could be like the protagonist in movies. No matter how difficult, they would ultimately have a good ending. However, reality is not like that. The protagonist's life is so distant for him. He's ultimately just an ordinary passerby who quietly disappears after being infected. What exactly is he hoping for? Facing this utterly terrible life, the ending was perhaps destined long ago. The next day, just as dawn breaks, Han Yen comes to knock on the door asking if Jong Min-jin is awake. Seeing no response after knocking for a long time, Kong Hak-chul says let him open the door. However, he discovers the door is locked from inside. So he says, though I hope my guess is wrong, but Jong Min-jin might be infected. Hearing this, Han Yun's heart jolts. She immediately refutes that Jong Min-jin wasn't bitten, but Kong Hak-chul points out she didn't witness the whole thing with her own. If he were fine, he should open the door. Even if he hasn't become infected, he might already be dead. Han Ina refuses to believe it and starts pounding on the door forcefully. The unresponsive silence seems to have already explained everything. Her tears instantly pour out as she shouts loudly, I'm telling you to open the door, you lunatic. Just as she finishes speaking, the door slowly opens. But when the two see Zhang Minjun walking out clearly, they're stunned in place. Zhang Minjun is covered in mutated red blood vessels, saying in a low voice, "Friends, my body seems a bit strange." Time rewinds to 18 years ago somewhere in country K. A pair of twin brothers come to a residence surrounded by iron doors and wire mesh. They came here because one of the boys heard that a man who believes the world is about to end lives here, seeing he can't persuade his brother to leave no matter what. The other boy has no choice but to leave alone helplessly. At this moment, the man's voice comes from behind the iron door. "Who's there? Soon there will be zombies everywhere outside. It's dangerous for you to stay there." The boy asks puzzled, "What's that?" Instead of answering directly, the man asks where the boy is from, and the boy says he's from country B. The man thinks he's the son of the nearby couple, but the boy explains he's just their nephew. The man asks where his parents are. The boy answers both parents have passed away. So the man asks if he's looking for a hiding place, and the boy thinks the other is playing a scenario game. So he cooperatively says he's being chased by zombies. As soon as he finishes speaking, the man opens the iron door, walks out with a gun, urging, "Get in here quick." The boy follows the man inside and asks what zombies are. "Do you know where humans who commit crimes go after death?" "Hell," the man says. "But if too many people commit crimes over thousands of years and hell becomes full, God will judge. When hell can no longer hold sinners, those who cannot enter hell will return to this world. God's punishment is coming. The apocalypse is approaching. If you don't prepare in advance like me, it will be hard to survive then." He turns his head. "Let me show you something amazing." Then he brings the boy to the warehouse. The walls are hung with various guns. The boy is stunned by the ample supplies in the warehouse. The man still looks serious, saying quietly, "The apocalypse will definitely come." Time returns to the present. Han Ina urges Kong Hak Chul not to keep pointing the gun at Zhang Minjin. Kong Hak Chul says this is just in case, as no one can guarantee Zhang Minjin won't suddenly attack them. Seo Jaehoon nearby also confirms Zhang Minjin is infected, his temperature actually reaching 42 degrees. Zhang Minjun on the bed says he can't figure out why he's infected because he wasn't bitten. Kong Hak Chul speculates that perhaps the knife that stabbed him had infected blood or bodily fluids on it, or the wound was exposed and became infected afterward. In other words, Zhang Minjin was already infected before Kong Hak Chul treated him. A guess vaguely surfaces in Kong Hak Chul's mind. If Zhang Minjin still hasn't mutated by tomorrow, he might be immune. Hearing this, a strange feeling surges in Zhang Minjin's heart. Another night passes. Zhang Minjin's body hasn't shown obvious deterioration. Han Yena stays by his side the whole time until he wakes up, seeing Han Yena calmly accompanying him. Zhang Minjin tentatively asks, "I might become infected. Aren't you afraid?" Han Yena says she's not afraid at all. Zhang Minjin can't help sighing at her big change, also praising her Molotov cocktail throwing moves as cool. Han Yena proudly tells him not to treat her as a hothouse flower, also explaining defensively that she's keeping watch to observe his physical condition. Through many days together, Zhang Minjun has long understood she's a girl with a tough mouth but soft heart. Then he tells Kong Hakul and Han Yena about the connection between the zombie game and reality. Kong Hakul asks, "You're saying the game company personally created and spread the virus?" Zhang Minjin says he can't be sure about this point yet. He says that game developer is quite famous, but he can't think of the name for the moment. Seo Jin appears at the right time, adding, "Red Heart Company CEO Daniel Chun." Seeing Zhang Minjin's surprised expression, he explains, "Because he's a developer I admire." He continues introducing. He was born in Country B and holds Country K nationality, a genius developer. Over a decade ago during his student days, he achieved great success overseas with an indie game called Hollow Code. Especially after Rage Z released 5 years ago became a hit, he made a lot of money. After that, he also invested heavily in AI, medical and biological industries, and even acquired related companies. Seo Jun adds, "I remember he also has a twin brother, but I forgot the specific name." After hearing this, Kong Hak Chul falls into thought, a zombie game plus medical business. The conditions match too well not to arouse suspicion. On the other side, somewhere, in Country K's interrogation room, Special Operations Department Commander Ewan Brooks introduces Daniel Chen, 29 years old, born in Country B to a relatively wealthy family before coming to Country K, but reportedly, you and your twin brother, Elio Chan, were isolated when young. Your mother was a famous film actress who withdrew from entertainment after being involved in a tax evasion scandal under public pressure. Due to mounting debts, she chose to end her life. It was later proven to be intentional tax evasion by the tax agent and mistakes by the tax bureau. At the same time, your father also encountered real estate and construction fraud and took his own life after incurring huge debts. You brothers could only come to Country K to rely on your uncle, but money you earned from games during your student years was also transferred by your uncle. Since then, you founded Red Heart Company and invested in medical and biological fields, gradually becoming someone who could influence the future medical community. Before he finishes, the man across interrupts, "Please get to the point. I'm in a hurry to return to Country B." Yuen stops beating around the bush. "You released the virus into Country B, didn't you?" Daniel Chin. But Daniel seems very impatient. "How many times do I have to say it wasn't me? You should suspect that brother of mine, Elio Chun, went missing after going to Country B. Do you know why he went there?" Yuen asks. Daniel says he doesn't know. But Yuen points out that the person who acquired Elio's research institute was Daniel, and if Elio developed the virus, Daniel couldn't possibly not know. And after the zombie incident broke out in Country B as biological antigen stock soared, Daniel's subsidiary stock price also skyrocketed within a month, which is too coincidental. After hearing this, Daniel says he's always been like this. He believes all people of Country B should go to hell. You're saying Elio, who specifically researches ways to save people, said such things? Yuen expresses doubt, but Daniel says he's the one growing the company for humanity's future. He says if the virus really did leak from his company, only he can control the situation. Yuen says the antigen will be developed under Special Operations Department supervision. Daniel asks if he plans to bring infected to Country K, and Yuan answers they're already on the way. But Daniel warns they'll definitely regret it. Now the virus has spread, and before long, Country K won't be spared either. To clean up this mess, they must let him go to Country B. Yuan turns to ask operations personnel Camilla Rosa. "Haven't tracked down Elio Chen's movements yet?" Camilla says not yet. At this moment, tactical lead Morris Blake points out that based on current evidence, Elio is indeed the prime suspect. But Camilla emphasizes that until they track down Elio's movements, they can't let Daniel leave, and they'll personally arrest Elio, seeing he can't persuade them. Daniel finally compromises, saying they can accompany him to Country B and he'll act under surveillance. He's very certain his brother definitely won't hide from him and will surely appear. Time rewinds to 2 days ago, the day Kong Hak Chul went out looking for the ambulance. Park Song Bin rides a bicycle on the road. Seeing he's almost at Jangon Station, but still hasn't seen Jong Min Jin's group, he wonders if they changed their destination, but still decides to check Gunja Station and Akusen Station. While pondering, an infected appears before him. He raises his knife and drops it, cleanly taking down that infected. Just then, he hears gunshots in the distance, immediately thinking having a gun would be cooler. But what are the authorities doing? Why still can't control the infected after all this time? He decides to go check out the source of the sound. He follows the gunshots all the way, but is stopped by a survivor he encounters along the way. The other warns him he can't go further. There are dense infected ahead. That person says he's severely injured and hopes Park Song Bin can help him. Then Park Song Bin enters the house. When he hears the other mention there's another group of survivors not far away, he's shocked. That person, the camouflaged boy who once contacted Kong Hak Chul, also tells him that he and Kong Hak Chul's group agreed to meet at Sky Hotel. Now his right leg is injured and he can't reach the meeting point on his own. Park Sang Bin pretends to be helpful, saying he'll do his best, and asks if those survivors are soldiers. The camouflage boy says one of them is a refugee, heard to be a student. This key information makes Park Sang Bin vaguely guess. He immediately asks if there's a boy with glasses and a tall girl with long hair in the group. The camouflage boy says he's not sure if there's a girl, but can confirm there's a boy with glasses and a man around 50 in the group. Park Sang Bin quickly asks if that refugee student is called Kong Hak Chul. The camouflage boy says his companion was responsible for radio contact with that person, but also heard them seem to call that person Hakshul. Park Song Bin shouts excitedly, "Kong Hakshul, Jong Min Jon, Han Yina, they're my friends. I've been looking for them." He asks the camouflage boy if those people are still at the detached residence, and the other says he heard gunshots and car engine sounds, so he's not sure if they safely left in the ambulance. The camouflage boy requests Park Song Bin help him find another vehicle or help notify his companion of his message, but Park Song Bin is immersed in his own thoughts and completely ignores him, then sighs pleasantly. I wasn't even hopeful, but thanks to you I've really hit the jackpot. After speaking, he starts rummaging through the camouflage boy's backpack. You're not gonna survive anyway, so it's fine if I take your bag, right? The camouflage boy asks in panic. What do you mean? But Park Song-bin looks at him darkly, showing his true colors. Why would I help someone with a broken leg? Being injured means you should die. Only now does the camouflage boy realize he's been played and immediately curses Park Song-bin as a bastard. Park Song-bin doesn't care at all, instead saying meaningfully, you're afraid of waiting here alone to die, right? He shows a terrifying smile, then let me send you off. Then he stabs the camouflage boy to death. After that, he prepares to leave but discovers the bicycle battery is dead and he made a fatal mistake. He didn't ask for the specific location of Sky Hotel. Time returns to now. Young Min Jin tells everyone that the zombie game doesn't have the concept of immune person. So if Daniel Chin really brought the game into reality, his existence would be equivalent to a bug in the game. Han Yena speculates that somewhere must be developing an antigen, and maybe he can contribute to developing the antigen and become humanity's hope. However, Kong Hak Chul isn't fully convinced by the game reality connection theory. What he cares more about is the weapons those two survivors possessed. That handgun is called Desert Eagle, a firearm type that's strictly prohibited. Zhang Minjin speculates the handgun might be from a live ammunition shooting range, but Kong Hak Chul is curious how those two brought a prohibited gun here. But right now, he's not eager to find the answer. The urgent matter is to get on the road as soon as possible. He needs to confirm the route to Gunja Station in advance, and Zhang Minjin says he wants to go with him. This request is opposed by Han Yana, but Zhang Minjin insists on going. So Han Yana says if they're going, they have to take her along. Listening to their conversation, Kong Hak Chul can't help teasing that Han Yana has now become Zhang Minjin's tag-along. Her thoughts exposed. Han Yena's face immediately reddens, but she still stubbornly says she's just worried about Zhang Minjin's body. After speaking, she angrily pushes Zhang Minjin outside, telling him to hurry up, then turns and sits on the bed sulking. And this clueless guy Zhang Minjin actually doesn't coax her and directly follows Kong Hak Chul out. At the same time, Park Sang-bin, after much difficulty, actually really finds Sky Hotel. Thinking he'll soon see Han Yina, he feels his whole body's blood boiling. But at this moment, he suddenly thinks of the gun in Kong Hak Chul's hands. If Kong Hak Chul is currently at the hotel, the situation would be very unfavorable for him. As if heaven is helping him, Kong Hak Chul and Zhang Min Jin's conversation voices come from not far away. Hearing the noise, Park Song-bin quickly hides behind a pillar at the parking lot in trance, seeing the two figures. Park Song-bin thinks, damn, they really have guns. Are they gonna scout the surroundings? That means Han Yuna is defenseless in the hotel. Thinking this, he excitedly sneaks into the hotel. At this moment, Han Yun hasn't yet realized danger is approaching. Moon Ji-yun asks why she keeps a straight face. Just feel my friends are annoying, Han Yun answers, especially Zhang Minjin. His body isn't well, but he still wants to go out scouting. Moon Ji-yun tells her not to worry. With Kong Hak Chul, they're nothing scary. But Han Yena says she's just inexplicably irritated for no reason. She can't help muttering quietly, what should I do if Zhang Minjin dies? Hearing this, Moon Ji-yun shows a knowing smile. One sentence reveals the truth. Looks like you like him. Han Yena stunned. I like Zhang Minjin. Then she denies it herself. No. This feeling isn't liking. It's just because the only person she can rely on now is Zhang Minjin. That's why. She recalls Zhang Minjin saying she's changed and agrees with his statement. She understands that it's because after the world ushered in the apocalypse, everything became equal. Before the zombie incident, apart from family discord, she indeed lived an enviable life with at most 3 to 4 phone calls from others each day. So for her, there was no man she couldn't handle except that older brother during school. Thinking of this, she suddenly realizes, could it be because Zhang Minjin has never shown any interest in me that I'm like this? Just as she's immersed in thought, knocking suddenly sounds at the door. Moon Ji-yun asks who it is, but the other doesn't respond. Just as she's about to open the door, Han Yun stops her. Han Yun also calls out asking, then wants to look through the peephole to see who's outside, only to find no outside the door. However, she doesn't know that at this moment outside the door, Park Song-bin is lying in wait. Park Song-bin clearly hears that it was Han Yun's voice just now, and there's another woman in the room. He notes this room 202, then wants to confirm if there are any male companions in other rooms. He walks to a room marked with an X thinking, does this mark mean do not enter? Feels like there are infected inside. At this moment, he notices room 206 nearby. Just then the door opens. Seo Jae-hoon and Park Song-bin come face to face. Who are you? Seo Jae-hoon asks in panic. Park Seo Jae-hoon's face darkens. I'm here to find that bitch Han Yana. Who else is here besides you? What? Who exactly are you? If you won't answer, then die. With that, Park Seo Jae-hoon stabs at Seo Jae-hoon with his knife. The commotion attracts Seo Jae-hoon's attention inside the room, seeing the two with the door in a standoff. Seo Jun cries and lunges at Park Song-bin, don't hurt my dad. The little boy is, of course, no match for an adult male and is immediately kicked aside by Park Song-bin. Han Yun and Moon Jae-on also hear the fighting sounds, hearing her husband and son's painful groans. Moon Jae-on anxiously wants to rush out to check, but is stopped by Han Yuna. Han Yuna quickly finds a self-defense dagger Kong Hak Chul left behind, then opens the door wanting to save Seo Jae-hoon and Seo Jun, but is stopped by a shout, get inside, Han Yuna. She turns at the sound. Kong Hak Chul and Jong Min Jun arrive just in time. Kong Hak Chul rushes into room 206 with his gun, and sees Park Song-bin holding a knife threatening Seo Jae-hoon to reveal who else is in the hotel. He immediately shouts, don't move bastard. Aiming at Park Song-bin who turns around, he says in a low voice, Park Song-bin didn't expect the last bullet would be used on you. Farewell. As the death sentence is pronounced, he quickly pulls the trigger, only to find the rifle has malfunctioned. Park Song-bin seizes the opportunity to charge at Kong Hak Chul attempting to attack. Kong Hak Chul decisively pulls out his personal dagger and engages in the final showdown. The reason he and Jong Min Jin could return to the hotel in time is because halfway there, Jong Min Jin felt symptoms appearing again. He not only felt dizzy, but also inexplicably feverish. Out of concern for his health, Kong Hak Chul decided to return to the hotel first to regroup. At this moment, Kong Hak Chul's left hand blocks Park Song-bin's stabbing knife hand. His right hand stabs toward the opponent's vital points, but is blocked by Park Song-bin's elbow. In an instant, blood splatters. The pained Park Song-bin fiercely kicks Kong Hak Chul's abdomen, temporarily creating distance between them. Looking at the man before him still maintaining a defensive stance, he frantically thinks about how to deal with the opponent's lethal attacks. But no matter which plan, none favor him. At this moment, Kong Chul suddenly speaks, how many people have you killed with that knife? Besides infected, you must have killed quite a few survivors. Being able to attack innocent people, your brain definitely isn't normal. He pauses, his tone suddenly turning cold. Actually, I also feel quite good when stabbing people, especially stabbing criminals like you. Seeing this opponent is a tough one, Park Song-bin finally feels afraid, says he wants to make a deal with Kong Hak Chul. He promises that as long as the other hands over Jong Min Jun and Han Yun, he'll obediently leave. Kong Hak Chul doesn't even think before refusing. To him, this kind of insane murderer has no credibility. Park Sang-bin then proposes abandoning knives and using bare-handed combat instead. But before he finishes speaking, the opponent already strikes, and he instinctively raises his hand to block, only to have two fingers severed by the sharp blade. Unable to care about the piercing pain in his wound, he's scared to tears for the first time, choking as he begs Kong Hak Chul for mercy, promising to find a way to save Seo Jae-hoon. But Kong Hak Chul gives him no chance to breathe and directly pronounces a tone with death, I'll finish you now. Seeing the other gives him no way out, Park Song-bin goes all in. He throws away the knife, holds his backpack in front to protect his vital points, assumes a fighting stance is tone firm, even missing a hand, I'll definitely take you down. With that, he charges at the opponent. Kong Hak Chul quickly thrusts his knife forward, but the blade is caught by Park Song-bin barehanded. He hooks Kong Hak Chul's ankle with his leg, trips him to the ground, then uses his elbow to lock Kong Chul's neck tightly, trying to suffocate him to death. Just as Park Song-bin feels triumphant. From the corner of his eye, he glimpses Jong Min Jin nearby, raising his mace ready to swing at him. But at the critical moment, Jong Min Jin's strange symptoms act up again. Severe pain makes him unable to even stand steady, staggering backward. Seeing this, Park Song-bin can't help mocking him, finding his attempt to fight back quite laughable. He raises his mutilated hand, saying sinisterly, I lost my fingers because of that bastard, Kong Hak Chul. I'll make you all wish you were dead. This statement seems to strike a nerve in Jong Min Jun. He starts screaming like a madman. Seeing such abnormal behavior, Park Sang-bin secretly speculates, could this guy be infected? He picks up the knife, preparing to finish off Jong Min-jun. But unexpectedly at this moment, Jong Min-jun suddenly turns and walks back. He keeps banging on a door with infected inside. Low roaring sounds immediately come from within, and Jong Min-jun actually makes sounds similar to infected, communicating with them. Park Sang-bin thinks he's giving up and wants to release the infected, so he rushes forward again, wanting to finish him quickly. At the critical moment, the door opens. Jong Min-jun's momentum carries him tumbling into the room. The next second, several infected slowly walk out, and Jong Min-jun emerges unharmed behind them. He stares at Park Sang-bin with deep eyes, recalling the various humiliations the other brought him. Those insulting words, violent actions, making him understand that the culprit who ruined his life is this guy with no bottom line before him. At this moment, anger reaches its peak. He points at Park Sang-bin, commanding those infected, go take down that guy. As soon as he finishes, several infected charge at Park Sang-bin like arrows. Kang Hak-chul nearby doesn't understand why Jong Min-jun can command infected. But survival comes first, so he quickly retreats into the room, leaving only Park Sang-bin fighting alone outside. He quickly takes down these infected. Just as he's about to settle accounts with Jong Min-jun, he discovers the other has vanished. Then he hears more low roars of infected from deep in the hallway. Jong Min-jun actually released even more infected from other rooms. Seeing them about to rush up to him, Park Sang-bin hurriedly hides in nearby room 210 marked as dangerous, just as he thinks he's safe. Infected in the room suddenly pounce on him. Outside the door, Jong Min-jun silently steps forward, beginning a new round of commands. At the same time, Seo Jae-hoon inside the room says weakly, Hak-chul, I can't be saved. He tells Kang Hak-chul the knife that stabbed him had infected blood on it. Hearing this, Kang Hak-chul is shocked, but still holding on to hope, prepares to get medical equipment from the ambulance. He quietly opens the door to peek and check, only to see Jong Min-jun standing alone in front of a room. Seeing Kang Hak-chul come out, he says he drove all the infected into the room before him. But unfortunately, Park Sang-bin dodged the infected's attacks and escaped outside through the room window. Kang Hak-chul asks Jong Min-jun why those infected don't attack him. Jong Min-jun says it's like this whenever symptoms appear, but he doesn't know the specific reason nor when symptoms will occur again. As soon as he finishes, Han-in and Moon Ji-won rush over. Kang Hak-chul has Han-yun stop Seo Young-hoon's bleeding, while he goes to the ambulance to get medical equipment. Jong Min-jun picks up the rifle, asking the last bullet, can it still be used? Kang Hak-chul quickly chambers around, handing it to him. It's definitely fine now. He suggests Park Sang-bin lost so much blood, he definitely can't run far. Let's treat uncle first, then you come with me. Jong Min-jun interrupts him. No, I'll finish him myself. Then he goes outside tracking Park Sang-bin's bloodstains on the ground. At the same time, he feels his symptoms are subsiding. He immediately quickens his pace forward. On the other side, at a building corner, Park Sang-bin hides there, silently bowing, no matter what method, I must survive. Then he randomly breaks into a residence, wanting to find a first aid kit to stop the bleeding, only to find there's no first aid kit in this house. Just as he's cursing quietly, the sound of a gun being cocked catches his attention. Jong Min-jun is pointing a gun at him. Seeing who came, Park Sang-bin relaxes his guard due to instinctive contempt. Can't help mocking. Can someone like you even use a gun? Seeing Jong Min-jun still staring at him expressionlessly, he asks again, have you ever killed anyone? I've been on the run until now and never harmed anyone, but today will be the first exception. Finishing, he aims at the boy before him. But Park Sang-bin not only doesn't take it seriously, he mocks even harder. Swearing, Jong Min-jun, you can't do it because you're a good person, not scum like me. He also tries to morally blackmail Jong Min-jun with a life for a life. But the next second, Jong Min-jun's words make him feel like falling into an ice pit. Even if the world faces apocalypse, scum like you don't deserve to live. With that, he pulls the trigger, sending the last bullet to this boy who once brought him endless suffering. Everything returns to silence. Jong Min-jun's nightmare ends here. When he returns to the hotel downstairs, he sees Han-yana waiting for him. As soon as she sees him, she hugs him tightly, then tells him the news that Seo Jae-hoon was infected. In the room, Moon Ji-yun and Seo Jae-hoon surround Seo Jae-hoon's bed crying their hearts out. At this moment, Seo Jae-hoon tells Seo Jae-hoon some news. A few months ago, was diagnosed with cancer and didn't have long to live anyway. He comforts his son not to be too sad because life is unpredictable. After Seo Hajuan leaves the room, he tells Kang Hakul that what he just said about having cancer was a lie. Only saying this would make Seo Hajuan accept his departure. As he speaks, his body begins showing mutation reactions. I've lived a very happy life, he sighs, just regret not being able to see my daughter. He asks Kang Hakchul to help his family reunite, then entrusts his son and daughter to his wife and stays alone in the room. Kang Hakchul doesn't kill Seo Jae-hoon because they have an agreement. Seo Jae-hoon hopes to continue living as infected. He asks Kang Hakchul to wait until the world calms down and a cure is developed, then return to this room to find him. After this, the team of 3 comes to the rooftop to talk. Han Yen asks what happened in the hallway earlier, and Kang Hakchul explains the process to her and states a speculation. Chong Min-jin is more like commanding the infected, but Chong Min-jin explains. He was just overwhelmed by anger at the time and shouted out. He mentions that zombie game Enraged Z, a commander appeared among the zombie hordes called the Undead King, the only special infected with clear consciousness in that worldview, able to think like humans and command other infected. But I don't think I've become the Undead King because my condition is unstable. So I don't know if I'm fully infected or if it's a side effect of immunity. He suggests testing next time symptoms appear whether he can really give orders to infected. Hearing this, what Han Yen's brain thinks about is something else. If Zhang Min-jin remains in an infected state, doesn't that mean he can't kiss others or do other intimate acts? Although the two of them definitely won't develop to that point, does this mean he's become an infected person who can never date the opposite sex? Will he have to spend the rest of his life single? Thinking this, she silently looks at Young Min-jun beside her. Her face showing sympathy, thinking internally, so pitiful, Young Min-jun will never experience that kind of happiness in his life. After this, everyone packs up and sets out. Seeing Seo Jun still feeling down, Kang Jun tells him about his own childhood experiences, then says, though I can't give you much comfort, the most important thing is, after you see your sister in the future, the only one who can protect your sister and mom is you. So pull yourself together. You're no longer an ordinary little kid. Seo Jun responds heavily. After his father's incident, he's matured considerably in an instant. At this moment, Kang Hak suddenly stops the car by the roadside because he sees a rescue vehicle slowly approaching ahead. This vehicle has been modified into a dangerous weapon. There's even a display rack installed on the front with an infected tied to it. Seeing the rescue vehicle heading in their direction, Kang Hak Chul quickly ducks down with Seo Jun, pretending the ambulance is empty. His intuition tells Kang Hak Chul the people in that vehicle must be dangerous, and that vehicle stops right next to the ambulance. Kang Hak Chul curses internally where we discovered. He silently pulls out his dagger ready to fight at any moment. Suddenly, an infected by the roadside roars and charges at the rescue vehicle. But from the window, someone calmly extends a gun and shoots that infected in the head with one shot. Hearing this unusually weak gunshot, Kang Hak Chul feels strange. Fortunately, after dealing with the infected, the people in the vehicle drive away, though they escape disaster. Kang Hak Chul's heart remains uneasy. After this, everyone continues along the planned route. But when still a few kilometers from Gunja Station, Kang Hak Chul unexpectedly discovers that modified rescue vehicle is caught up. He immediately turns right onto another street, only to find the road ahead is blocked. At this moment, he notices a parking lot not far away. Though knowing there are likely many infected gathered inside, there's no choice right now. Han Yena and others in the back don't know what's happening, so Kang Hak Chul tells them what he just saw. However, at this moment, he also discovers the entrance to the parking lot is blocked, so he has others wait in the vehicle while he's responsible for dealing with the dangerous people in the rescue vehicle. Right now, he only has a rifle without bullets, but equipped with a simple short sword and an emergency dagger. Not knowing the opponent's weapons configuration, fighting alone is undoubtedly full of risk. He can't help thinking, if the situation really becomes critical, I'll have no choice but to escape alone to survive. He leans out to check, only to find that rescue vehicle didn't follow in. So he hides behind a pillar at the parking lot entrance, looking toward the road. That vehicle actually stopped in the middle of the road. A fully armed man is sent down. Now Kang Hak Chul is very certain that what the man holds is an AR rifle equipped with a silencer. At this moment, he has only one thought, must evacuate as soon as possible. He quickly returns to the ambulance, having everyone transfer immediately. Learning Jong Min-jin's body still hasn't shown symptoms, he curses, "Damn it," then confirms with Han-in that there are at most 5 infected in the parking lot and leads the group silently bypassing the infected, entering an open emergency exit door. He instructs Jong Min-jin to take others upstairs to find a safe location, then prepares to face that dangerous person with the silenced AR alone. Jong Min-jin worries he has no bullets and will be hard to handle. Kang Hak-chul promises not to confront the enemy head-on. After speaking, he leaves. Fortunately, that dangerous person encountered trouble. He was discovered by infected. Hearing the continuously weak gunshots, Kang Hak-chul thinks the opponent seems to have plenty of bullets. He again determines that if he really encounters danger, he'll evacuate alone. At the same time, Jong Min-jin's group also finds an empty classroom. After settling everyone, Jong Min-jin says he's going to assist Kang Hak-chul, but Han Yena grabs his hand, stopping him. "Don't go." She pleads, "Stay by my side," seeing Jung Min-jun look at her in surprise. She explains quietly, "Though I'm also worried about Hak-chul, but the opponent has guns. It's definitely dangerous. And Hak-chul also instructed us to stay put and wait for him to return. I'm saying this because I trust Hak-chul. Just wait here with me for him." These words finally convinced Jung Min-jun, and he no longer insists finding Kang Hak-chul. Time passes minute by minute, and Kang Hak-chul still hasn't returned. Just as everyone worries, bang bang door pounding sounds suddenly at the entrance. Jung Min-jun leans out to check and sees someone outside trying to open the door. Seeing this, he murmurs puzzled, "Is it Hak-chul?" Han Yun nearby denies this guess. "No." Outside the door, they seem to be infected. As soon as she finishes, conversation voices suddenly come from outside. "Why won't the door open? Could there be someone?" Han Yun is startled. 2 people. Could they be special infected? But Jong Min-jun finds those 2 voices more and more familiar. He ignores Han Yun-a's attempt to stop him and directly opens the door. Seeing the 2 before him clearly, he can't help exclaiming quietly, "What the visitors are actually by Jun-ho and Oh Byung-jun." Seeing his good friends, Jong Min-jun is naturally very surprised. After the door opens, that strong smell makes Han Yun even more confused. What's going on? What I'm smelling isn't human scent. When Oh Byung-jun walks in, she immediately confirms that stench comes from him. She directly points at Oh Byung and shouts, "He's infected. All kinds of pungent smells are coming from him. This is definitely not human smell." But Oh Byung-jun says he's not infected, so Jong Min-jun leans close to smell him, then covers his nose explaining, "This is just a sweat smell. From before, Byung-jun's sweat smell has been pungent." Oh Byung-jun apologizes, embarrassed. "Sorry. I couldn't wash properly." Through conversation, Jong Min-jun learns his 2 friends came here from the Gunja Station shelter. The 2 explain they're responsible for external patrols as survivors continuously increase. The shelter has gradually occupied surrounding buildings and continues expanding its control range. Because this place is about 2 kilometers from Gunja Station, they use it as a temporary foothold. At this moment, Moon Ji-yun suddenly steps forward, taking out Seo Haekyong's photo and asking, "Have you 2 seen a 20-year-old girl named Seo Hak-kyung? She's my daughter." The 2 say they've seen her. She's staying in the women's quarantine zone at Gunja Station Exit 1. Moon Ji-yun urgently asks if her daughter is well. The other answers affirmatively, but also explains they can't be 100% certain it's the same person based on just a photo, suggesting going to the shelter personally to confirm. After this, Jong Min-jin asks if they saw anyone with weapons or strange vehicles with infected tied to the front. Han Yun adds, "When we were moving by vehicle, they suddenly chased us." Hakul said they also had guns. Seeing the 2 puzzled about who Hakul is, Jong Min-jun briefly explains. Bae Juno suggests, "We didn't see anyone when we came in. Want to go to the rooftop to confirm?" Jong Min-jun agrees. Just about to leave, Han Yun grabs his sleeve, tentatively asking, "Jong Min-jun, can you stay with me and let these 2 go confirm or take me along?" Hearing this, Oh Byung-jun and Bae Jun-ho silently exchange glances. Jong Min-jun tells Han Yun not to worry, instructing her to stay put, then goes to the rooftop with his 2 good friends. Just as Oh Byung-jun said, that strange vehicle is no longer there. Jong Min-jun can't help worrying about Kang Hak-chul's safety. Suddenly, Oh Byung-jun grabs his collar, angrily demanding if he's dating Han Yena. Jong Min-jin denies in confusion, but Oh Byung-jun clearly doesn't believe it and threatens him to confess honestly. Bae Jun-ho nearby seriously analyzes. finally concluding, Jang Min-jin and Han Yena must be dating, seeing explanations are useless. Jang Min-jin can only give up arguing and turn to another topic, finding Kang Hak-chul. Bae Jun-ho reveals some news. A few days ago, a gunfight occurred outside the shelter. Though the other side had firearms, our side had more people, and that group might be the gang tracking Jang Min-jin's group. Jang Min-jin worries they'll encounter danger on patrol. Oh Byung-jin explains when encountering danger, they use walkie-talkies to request rescue, then armed rescue troops will drive to support. Seeing Jang Min-jin still worried, Bae Jun-ho suggests waiting here for Kang Hak-chul to return first, then going to Gunja Station together. However, the shelter has many people, and conditions for accepting survivors have become very strict. Fortunately, they're friends, so they just need to pass several rounds of checks to enter the finishing. Oh Byung-jun nearby pulls out a walkie-talkie. Seeing the other holds the same model walkie-talkie as Kang Hak-chul, Jung Min-jin suggests using it to call Kang Hak-chul. But he suddenly remembers that earlier in the emergency, Kang Hak-chul's backpack was left in the ambulance, meaning the walkie-talkie might not be with Kang Hak-chul. Oh Byung-jun says he'll report to headquarters first, then picks up the walkie-talkie to call reporting he's arrived at the temporary base. After reporting, he also introduces Jang Min-jin's group situation and asks if he can bring them back to the shelter. Headquarters agrees to the request, but on the condition, pass infection testing at Hope Hospital and are quarantined for at least 1 day. Hearing check if infected, Jang Min-jun's heart immediately tightens. He quickly confirms with Oh Byung-jin again. The other tells him that professional doctors at Hope Hospital outside the shelter can accurately determine if a person is infected. Then what happens to people found to be infected? Jang Min-jun tentatively asks. The other's answer makes him feel like falling into an ice pit. Infected people will soon mutate, so of course they're executed on the spot. Vague anxiety rises in his heart. What if the examination finds I'm really infected? The three don't know their whereabouts have already been discovered by someone lurking on another building's rooftop. At this moment, that person is picking up a walkie-talkie to report to headquarters and says through the green identification bands on their arms, he can confirm they're members of the Gunja Station gang. The person on the other end of the walkie-talkie asks, "What about the guy who escaped from the ambulance?" The man answers his companion is tracking. No news yet. At this moment, orders come through the other end of the walkie-talkie. If confirmed to be those Gunja Station people, must capture them alive if possible. Eliminate directly if they resist. The man agrees on the surface but curses internally. How can I capture so many people alone? Besides, they're all male. Who knows how many more people there are? So he decides to first confirm which floor they're on in the building, then figure out how to catch them all in one net. On this side, the three prepare to return to the classroom. Looking at the two's backs, Jung Min-jin struggles internally. Jun-ho and Byung-jun are definitely my most trusted friends. But is it really appropriate to tell them about the infection? Setting aside whether they'll believe I'm immune, what if I get tested and find I'm not immune? In short, once identified as infected, I'll likely face a dangerous situation. Should I have everyone except me go to Gunja Station shelter first? But to confirm if I'm infected, I must go through professional doctor testing. Isn't there another way? Thinking this, he decides to temporarily hide his physical condition and wait to find Kang Hak-chul before deciding. Back in the classroom, Oh Byung-jin tries to contact Kang Hak-chul via walkie-talkie but never succeeds. Jang Min-jin decides to wait a bit more. If it doesn't work, he'll personally go find Kang Hak-chul. At the same time, that dangerous gang member also found where Jang Min-jin's group is hiding. Then he prepares to act. Before long, Jang Min-jin hears glass shattering outside the door. He immediately rushes out of the classroom to check and sees a raging fire in the lounge. Even the office next door caught fire. Jang Min-jin murmurs, "Someone threw Molotov cocktails here." He quickly tells Han Yena and others behind him, "Our hiding place might have been discovered. We must change locations." Oh Byung-ju nearby also quickly picks up the walkie-talkie to call headquarters for help. Just as everyone prepares to escape through the door, Han Yena freezes. She senses the infected's presence. She's about to stop Jang Min-jin from opening the door, but he already beats her to it. Seeing the scene before him, Jang Min-jin's stunned. The entire building's infected are actually gathered in the hallway. He quickly locks the door, telling everyone the situation. Then speculating, someone definitely deliberately lured the infected here, but at this moment, his body shows no symptoms. He recalls last time it was because of anger toward Park Sang-bin that symptoms suddenly appeared. Thinking this, he loses emotional control on the spot, starts crazily cursing Park Sang-bin. But, obviously, this method doesn't work. He can only ask Oh Byung-jun how long until rescue arrives. The other answers at least 10 minutes, and with infected gathered now, it'll take even longer. So Jong Min-jin decides to lure away the infected alone while others take the chance to find other safe hiding places. He instructs Bae Jun-ho to keep his backpack safe, then adds, if we get separated and can't meet up, I'll go directly to Gunja Station. We'll meet there then. Han Yen-ho wants to stop him from going into danger alone, but her hand reaching toward him ultimately falls empty. After this, Jong Jin rushes outside shouting loudly to attract the infected's attention. They all chase him upstairs. Jong Min-jin runs hard while comforting himself. It's okay if I'm immune compared to my friends. It's better if I get bitten. But the enormous number of infected behind still gives him quite a fright. He charges to the rooftop in one breath, originally planning to keep circling to shake them off then return the same way. But unexpectedly, there's no path forward. He's cornered at the rooftop edge, looking at the bottomless distance from the rooftop to the ground. His thoughts return to the first day of the zombie outbreak. Back then, he tried to go to the rooftop of Han Yena's residential complex to end his life. If he hadn't met her then, that day might have been his last day alive. Thinking back, she essentially saved his life because at this moment, he's struggling to survive. Thinking this, he makes up his mind. Since he promised Han Yena to survive to the end, before seeing his mother, he absolutely cannot die. Then he leaps forward, his body soaring toward the opposite building like a swallow. Fortunately, he lands safely, but his foot twists. His whole body rolls to the ground. Sharp pain from his ankle reminds him he sprained his ankle. Just as he's about to stand up, a strange man's voice comes from nearby. Didn't expect you deliver yourself, truly a gift from heaven. Jong Min-jin immediately realizes the person before him is the culprit. The man continues asking, you're from Gunja Station, right? Without waiting for Jong Min-jin's answer, the man kicks him and demands where the others are. This kick hits Jong Min-jin's wound exactly, and he immediately curls up in pain. After reporting to headquarters, the man prepares to capture Jong Min-jin alive and kicks toward his face again. On the other side, Han Yun's group arrives at the billiards room. Oh Byung-jun just reported to headquarters, and they tell him support has arrived downstairs. He quickly has everyone meet up with the support personnel, but Han Yun wants them to go first while she stays to wait for Jong Min-jin and Kang Hak-chul. After everyone's earnest persuasion, Han Yena finally agrees to leave with them. On the other side, the dangerous person ties Jong Min-jun up in the bathroom. After observing the tight security of Gunja Station guards downstairs, the man realizes their organization is at a disadvantage in firepower. Jong Min-jun desperately explains he's not a member of the Gunja Station organization, but the man won't listen at all. He reveals he and his companion agreed to meet here by midnight at the latest. And if the companion doesn't show, he'll assume the companion is dead, then finish off Jong Min-jun. But at this moment, he suddenly discovers strange symptoms appearing on Jong Min-jin. Realizing the other is infected, prepares to kill him. Suddenly, knocking at the door stops his action. He walks to the door and exchanges secret signals with the person outside. The person outside successfully matches the signal. The man opens the door about to welcome his companion, but is shot dead by Kang Hak-chul. Seeing his companion safely return, Jong Min-jun is very happy. Kang Hak-chul tells him he was in a nearby building the whole time. He captured the dangerous person chasing him and obtained some intel, but didn't expect to return too late. While untying Jong Min-jun, he listens to the other tell everything that happened during his absence. Learning Jong Min-jin sprained his ankle, Kang Chul supports him as they leave the building together. The two slowly move toward Gunja Station area. Along the way, Jong Min-jin asks what exactly are those guys' background. Kang Chul tells him. Through interrogation, he not only learned those two dangerous people's meeting place and signal, but also learned the dangerous gang's base isn't fixed, currently temporarily stationed at Zangrankian, but moving tomorrow. Then he also threatened with a knife stained with infected blood, forcing out their true identity. Turns out those dangerous people are all criminals from Yongshan prison. In the early outbreak, infected appeared in the prison, and a large-scale riot occurred. Many criminals escaped. Several acquaintances rushed here after hearing city fell, aiming to steal valuable property from banks or department stores. Hearing this, Kang Hak-chul pressed about where that silenced gun came from. The man told him this gun wasn't obtained by himself, but when organization members heard helicopters dropped items and went to check, they found a box containing 2 AR rifles and 1 grenade. The man said the other AR rifle is in their captain's hands. Besides this, one person has a rifle found on a soldier's corpse, plus several more grenades. The rest are melee weapons. According to a speculation, that box seemed like supplies prepared for Special Forces personnel. Getting to this point, Kang Hakshul concludes, in short, someone is deliberately providing weapons, though we don't know which country dropped them. The purpose is most likely to suppress the current situation. Zhang Minjin can't help sighing internally. This is all too absurd. Suddenly, the scene before them shocks both. Corpses are strewn everywhere ahead, blood flowing freely, and in front of the corpses are roadblocks, 2 buses parked horizontally with a huge banner erected reading, "Approach and be shot."